Okay. Welcome everyone to twitch.tv/jonsf. This is the first episode of my podcast that I wanted to create. Finally, I'm very unsure about how things are gonna happen. We already fucked up with the echo in the beginning. But you know, it's a learning process, and hopefully we can get a little bit better at it. I forgot about that one detail. Anyways, so this podcast that I wanted to make, basically the point of this is, all right, before I get into that, let me say this first. First of all, welcome to my show. Welcome to the podcast. If you're watching this in retrospect, this is being live streamed on twitch.tv/jonsf. I'm planning to syndicate the content into other platforms, probably like TikTok or YouTube or Apple Music or whatever the podcasts are on in the future. But we're trying to just bang this out and see how this works. The whole theme and topic of this podcast is basically I'm inviting other creators, specifically Twitch streamers and more specifically IRL streamers in the beginning. However, I'm gonna get a little bit more broad later on because I'll probably run out of guests after a while. So the point of the show is to discuss the life of creators, and my thought was that as a streamer, viewers don't really get to see the majority of the life of the streamer that happens off stream, right? They share a lot of what we go through from what we stream on the camera, but they don't really see much off of the camera. And I feel like a lot of people get kind of like the wrong idea of what creators go through, because I get a lot of people that come into my chat that say like, oh, I thought all streamers were getting a ton of money or something like that. So I feel like you guys don't really realize the downsides of being a streamer, which it's not all fun and games, which being a streamer is. And I don't want to make it sound like being a streamer sucks, but I just kind of want to be realistic about what being a streamer is. And so I wanted to use this podcast to showcase the real lives of creators and discuss what goes on off the camera. And hopefully this paints a fuller picture of us as creators and inspire and educate the people who want to do the same things that we do. So I have the live chat going on right now. You guys can see. I'll put this up over here. So we have the live chat going on. I due to the nature of this content, I can't really go into the chat as much as I usually do for a normal stream, because this is basically going to be a discussion between myself and my guest here. But every once in a while I'll probably look into the chat and pull out some questions. However, if you guys really want your question to come through, every once in a while I will go into the donations or the subs, and when you put a message there, I'll go through the messages that go through there if they're good. if they're just some shitty thing, then maybe I won't. Actually, let me mute the alerts. I forgot to do that. Give me a second. Before I do that, let me introduce my guest. This is twitch.tv/nezst. Twitch.tv/nezst. And then so he's fortunately our first guest, which is really
it's an
good
honor.
to have.
It's an honor. Yes, sir.
Let me mute this really quick.
Greetings. I'm that guy Neszt. Nezst, like a bird's nest. Hello. I had Thai food earlier today, yes. So my stomach, it's very content.
Okay, let's get into it. So I have my first guest here. This is twitch.tv/nezst. Neszt, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be a part of the first ever jonsf podcast. Do you have a specific name for this yet? Or?
Oh, that's a good point, because I wanted to mention that I don't have a name for the podcast. I haven't decided yet. There are many names for the podcast, but I haven't decided on what the name of the podcast is going to be. However, I'm Fatsu in the chat had probably the name that I'm leaning most towards, which is jonsfm. But the name that I wanted prior to that was the No Games podcast. But somebody had already taken No Games podcast. Or not No Games. It was the Plain No Games podcast, which is very similar, so I can't really take it. But yeah, I did want to. I haven't decided on the name yet.
jonsfm. So
Yeah.
kind of like a play on the radio thing.
Exactly.
Ah, that's pretty clever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Thanks to Fatsu for that.
Yeah, shouts
name.
out to Fatsu.
Yeah. Just call it. The reason why I wanted to call it the No Games podcast is because basically the whole thing about the creators that I'm really used to is the non-gaming creators, and the content that we make is non-gaming content. So, and also it works as kind of like a double entendre, where the topics that we're talking about is like we're not playing around, or this is kind of more of like a how can I say, a more serious topic that we wanted to talk about, and we'll get into that stuff later. So okay, before we get into that, so Nezst, welcome to the show. Can you please introduce yourself and your stream? Do you have like a tagline for your stream or something like that?
Not really. I mean, I would just say I'm Nest, Nezst, like a bird's nest. That's usually how I intro myself. But essentially, I just do IRL streams, go out to different parts, Southern California. Hopefully, eventually, some more overseas international stuff. But pretty much, I could say what I do, or my main focus or content is. Originally, I wanted to get into doing more the music scene, like the underground music scene. But I guess because of the whole COVID situation, all of the venues, in-person gatherings kind of shut down. So I kind of had to shift my focus onto other things, like I guess, like one main topic is because I'm vegan.
Yeah.
So I follow a plant-based diet. So I just decided to showcase that kind of part of my life, and just kind of spiraled from there. Just more showing off things I like to personally do, from I guess streetwear, like lifestyle kind of things. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Speaking of vegan, that reminds me, because I ordered some vegan food for us to eat on this podcast, because I wanted there to be a kind of basically the vibe that I wanted of this podcast was I wanted it to be two creators talking to each other about streaming over food. I feel like food is kind of like a way for two people to kind of bond over something.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we have like similar experiences where it comes to like we're both IRL streamers on Twitch.
Right.
And so we want to talk about our experiences with that. Yeah. Okay, so thanks for explaining about your channel and your stream. But today you're here not as twitch.tv/Nezst.
Right.
You are representing Nestor.
Just me.
Today you are Nestor,
Yeah.
right, on this stream. So before we talk about like the whole streaming thing, let's talk about how you were before you started streaming.
Gotcha.
So can you explain kind of like your life before you guys streaming? Like, were you born here in Southern California? Los
Yes,
Angeles?
born and raised.
Born and raised?
So I guess we can just give like a general intro to just my upbringing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're kind of asking? So I was born in West Covina. Lived there till I was like 4-ish, 5-ish.
By the way, don't feel pressured to reveal information.
Right. No, not at all.
Whatever you can talk about. Feel free to talk about that. Yeah.
But I think it'll give a good like insight to like my background.
Okay.
And then afterwards moved to Compton at like around that 4 or 5 age. Just grew up there, still living there currently now. And yeah, I think just being raised in that kind of gritty environment definitely helped mold and shape to like who I am today.
Well, what does that mean? Like, what parts
does that
of
mean?
what parts of your childhood that grew up kind of are the most influential to how you are now?
Okay. Well, I mean, like, I think my mom told me like the first weekend we moved in there. What's it called? There was like some helicopter chase going around.
Yeah.
And they literally like came through my backyard, and they were like flashing the helicopter light there for a while. So I mean, it was just it's a little tough coming up. I mean, I never really had the chance to go out and do stuff because obviously it's like, oh, it's Compton outside. You can't really be mingling out in the streets, right? So
would you say Compton is like a dangerous area? As dangerous as the reputation is of Compton.
Back in the day, yeah. Like maybe towards the end of the 2000s, it started kind of improving. But back then, yeah, it was pretty sketch. Yeah, I mean, for example, growing up, I'm not gonna dox anyone or anything. I'm not a snitch. Snitches get stitches. But yeah, one of my neighbors used to slang a little thing called angel dust.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of paraphernalia, and they eventually got raided at like randomly one night. I was literally sleeping in the living room, and I heard like a bunch of footsteps and whatnot, and then I saw some lights coming through my window, and then I take a look and I see like a whole bunch of like FBI SWAT just like outside, like literally right next to my window. It was like insane. Yeah.
How many of them?
I mean, I want to say maybe like 20. Like all like armored up and everything. Like it was just nuts. So yeah. I mean that I think definitely the fact that I was never really able to go out and explore definitely like kind of pushed me into doing IRL streaming, because like definitely now like I'm exploring finally like the city like where I kind of grew up in like 20 years later.
Got it. Interesting. So you mentioned earlier that you said kind of you wanted to cover music and underground music. So would you say like underground music was like a huge influential part of your upbringing, and that's why you wanted to bring that into streaming or something?
Definitely.
So what was your involvement with underground live music?
Yeah. So around high school, I want to say like maybe junior year-ish or sophomore year-ish, I got into like the whole SoundCloud scene and all that, like DIY, making your own music and beats. Then I came across Little B, and I was like, wow, this is like pretty a wild, eccentric guy. But at the same time, I was like, wow, he's really just willing to be himself and just be himself. Like there's no facade or anything, and I really like just love that rawness about him, and it kind of like motivated me, like, let me give this like a try. So I started like trying to make beats. They were terrible, and but through that, like I guess I started making friends online through SoundCloud, like different people I constantly would talk with and whatnot, group chats. And then through that, I started going to shows. I would meet people from SoundCloud there, and I was like, wow, this is like pretty awesome to make these online connections in person. That kind of sparked my interest into like the whole internet scene, and then from there I came across Ice Poseidon, his YouTube streams, and I was like, oh wow, this guy's like kind of exploring areas that I would like to see. And then after a while of watching him, it was, seeing all the wacky crazy events he would put together, it kind of like drew me more into like, wow, I really want to see more of this kind of content. And then he did the whole RV stuff, introduced other streamers, and I kind of dabbled here and there into that. And that's how I kind of got introduced into the IRL scene. So I guess it kind of does tie into the whole SoundCloud making music, because of that whole me diving into the internet.
So when did you kind of cross between that part where you said you were kind of like in the SoundCloud making music phase, and then you discovered IRL streaming through Ice Poseidon? You said on the when he was doing YouTube live streams, right? Yeah. So at that time, that was that after he switched over to YouTube, or?
Yeah, I think that was after the band.
Okay, so that was like,
or honestly, it might have been just like he probably was still streaming on Twitch. So how did you? It might have been like VODs that I watched that got uploaded into YouTube, that kind of thing.
So how did you find that? Do you remember? You don't remember?
No, I don't remember. I just came up with my recommendations, and just the rest is history.
What interested you so much about that?
I just liked how I guess him also making friends on the internet, meeting them in person, and just kind of seeing that interaction and friendship grow. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Wow. So that's cool. So when you were making when you were in that kind of music beat scene, were you actually making music and stuff, or?
Yeah, I was making. I actually did one show, and the only
You did
show.
a show?
Yeah, actually, the only show I ever
Whoa.
did was actually at what's that venue at Anaheim?
Oh,
It's a small one, Chain Reaction. Chain Reaction,
yeah.
which is like low key a legendary venue, and
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and I like got to open up for some guy named Omen 13. Yeah, that was pretty cool. It was a terrible show. Like I was so nervous, like I couldn't even believe like I was like even doing it. It was just apparently it didn't go too bad because I had a friend of mine who's also an artist. He goes by Slater. He was DJing for me, and he kind of like gave me some tips or whatever, and it kind of did help. But at the same time, like me naturally, like whenever I do anything, I would get like really nervous. Yeah. I don't know why. Like even this like interview, like even it's
honestly,
it's crazy.
I'm a little nervous too. But
like even though like
okay.
I know John and everything, like for some reason like my brain is aware that this is like kind of
we kind of up this up a little
exactly.
bit,
The stakes are high now, so like it kind of
gets
to me.
That's where the food comes in.
But like I know like once I start doing it, like I get more comfortable and it just becomes easy at that point. But wait, we kind of dozed off from that.
How was that first show? Like, what kind of music were you playing? Was it like
it's like some weird
like beats and stuff? Or like?
No, I was actually rapping at that point.
You were rapping?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Damn.
But what's it called? Yeah, it's like it was like some kind of weird hip hop, but think of it was kind of like more into like the sesh scene, like Bones, all that, Dylan Ross. What's another couple names I could throw in there? Drip 133. That kind of whole darkish kind of depressed sound kind of thing.
Do you have something that you can kind of like show?
I mean, if you search out there, you could probably find my SoundCloud.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want to share it? Or no?
I do not.
You don't? Okay, let's not.
I haven't touched it in like 2-3 years. I don't know how I feel about it anymore. I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's a part of what I did. It's cool. Like I've gone back and listened to it like a year ago or so, but more than anything, like it's pretty cool whenever I do listen to that old stuff. Like I can like specifically remember that like time and place where I was at in life. Like, oh, I remember when I made this. You know, I was, going through this, doing this. This certain stage in life. So more than anything, like even if the songs are trash, like I just like that memory about it more than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And it reflected the time of when you did it too.
Yeah.
What was popular.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that I got to actually do a show, like, even though it was like really no big deal, it was just like a small opener. Like, that's pretty cool to me.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. Like
I've never like done a real show.
Yeah.
I've DJ'd a couple times at like school events when I was in college, but that wasn't like real shit. Right?
Yeah. I mean, there was only like 15-20 people there because it was like early, obviously.
That's good.
But yeah, it was pretty cool.
If you think about it, like 15 people on like viewers on Twitch is not that much, but IRL 15 people is like you have 15 real people. So the difference now, like I think our viewership now is like 100 people. Can you imagine like 100 real people at a venue? Like all the people in the chat right now, these are real people looking at you, seeing you play or whatever.
Don't tell me that.
See, like on Twitch, we think of like the viewers as not really like we can have like a lot of people watching us, but they're not like you don't see their faces.
There's no physical presence.
Yeah,
and that kind of like helps ease. But like, let's say you have like 100 people just like sitting right here staring at us doing this. Yeah, I'd be nervous as hell. I'd be like, what the hell? Why do these people want to see me? What did I do? I did nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, okay. Now that we've talked about that, your life before streaming and your influences getting into streaming, how did you say that you made your own transition from becoming like a person that was like watching streams and being introduced into the internet, like internet world, and then deciding that I also want to be a streamer and let me try it. Like,
Gotcha.
at what point did you decide that let me start a channel?
I think it kind of started around when I sniped what's her name, QR Kitty. I think at
What was
that
that?
point. What?
When was that?
When was that? I want to say it's like around 2 year-ish or so.
2 years-ish or so?
Yeah, I think when I sniped and like.
Was she visiting here? Or
Yeah,
was there
she
an
was
event?
visiting LA.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
she was on the streets. And
Yeah,
you
yeah,
sniped
yeah.
on the streets. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So like, I got to, I guess, live out that kind of idea I had in my mind of like, oh, streamer, meeting people, that kind of thing. And it like, I don't know, it just, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like the fact that I can like meet up people who watch a certain weird niche thing that I like to do. And it didn't, I mean, not that it seemed easy or hard, but it was like, oh, this looks like fun. Like I want to like put my own spin on it. And yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
Really? So how did you go about becoming a streamer? Were you first an IRL streamer, or did you try doing like desktop streaming, and how was that process?
Oh yeah, no, I've always wanted to just do IRL, and I still do.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
your
just-
first stream was like IRL.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did you do your first stream? What was the like barrier to doing it? Or,
Just
like, you
just
set
my
up your
phone.
phone?
Yeah,
You
just
set up
my
your
phone. I got a selfie stick, and just went at it. Yeah.
how was? Can you recall your first IRL stream?
My first IRL stream. I think my first proper IRL stream, because I started at TwitchCon, so I just did like some small streams in like my Airbnb, which was like super scuffed. It was awful. It was
Okay.
awful. But my first proper one, I think, was out here in LA. I went to, where did I go? I think I was just walking around in Long Beach, just testing it out. And it was just kind of, I don't know, it wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be, just because of the fact I was dealing with like the technical issues myself
Right.
at that time. So I was like, wow, like I have to worry about data, I have to worry about, signal, battery, all these like extra things. So I was like, oh, it was kind of like a reality check in a sense.
Yeah.
But it still didn't like deter me enough, because I was like, just, I guess the fact that, in that SoundCloud phase, I kind of went through the similar thing, like just trying to figure out what works, learning what GarageBand, etc., things
Yeah.
like that. I knew there was a like an uphill kind of grind. You had to figure things out yourself. So it was like, this was kind of interesting, like from actually you being the streamer, providing the entertainment perspective. But I knew that there was like so much more I wanted to bring still. So I just figured out, let me just push it out for a couple months, see how I feel, and then I'll like reevaluate from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when was that you first started streaming? That was, you said it was a TwitchCon 2018 or
18 or 19, I don't remember.
18 or
To be
19?
honest. Basically before COVID. Basically before that.
2019 then.
Yeah, 2019 probably.
I wasn't at that TwitchCon. I was out of the country, so
Oh,
unfortunately
nice.
I missed that one.
No, you didn't miss much. It's not that cool.
What? It seems like that was a pretty good one. It wasn't that good. Okay.
But yeah, I think. Oh yeah. Okay, now I remember like my first proper IRL stream, or like it was one of my early ones. Because yeah, it was during COVID. I went to Chinatown, and then I dressed up in a hazmat suit, and some mask and goggles, and I was just like walking around there, like telling people, oh, the whole situation, like you should be prepared, and just getting like reactions. Like I was doing more kind of a little bit edgier content, because
Yeah.
that's like what I saw and like came up watching, so that's like what I assumed was the norm for IRL.
Right.
I wasn't aware there's just like more chill things to do for the IRL scene.
Uh,
But yeah, I was doing that kind of content. It was pretty dumb. I don't hate it, but like, it's not gonna age well. But that specific stream, like me actually doing and getting interactions was very interesting. Like the whole dynamic of having chat, telling you one thing or another, and then on top of that, being that kind of middleman as well to the actual people, like in person. and then on top of having this character slash persona you're trying to cosplay,
Right.
it was very interesting and fun. But I do recall that was like my first kind of actual proper IRL stream, like where I had a plan A, plan B, not plan A, plan B, step 1, 2, 3 in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like your kind of that was your jump off into being like you're starting yourself as a streamer. You're identifying as
yeah,
a
there you go.
streamer.
Identifying myself as a streamer. That's a good way to put it.
Okay, very interesting. How did you come into the thought process of being like I should make my stream have A, B, C, or whatever, step 1, step 2, step 3, like you said?
I think just from because I started streaming on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
I guess I just started watching a little bit more other streamers, just seeing like what works for them, and just kind of applying it to myself, seeing how I feel about myself doing that kind of content. Just basically trial and error, I guess.
So what specific, was there anything specific that you saw that you thought like you would wanted to implement onto your stream?
What do you mean by that?
Like you said, you watched other people's streams and you saw people do like A, B, and C, or step 1, step 2, step 3, as opposed to, so what I'm trying to get at is that I do watch some streamers, and you can kind of tell the difference between someone who's like a little bit more of a seasoned streamer versus someone who's a little bit more of a newer streamer, where you can kind of see the construction of how the stream is kind of laid out.
Yeah.
Whereas kind of the newer streamers, they just kind of turn it on and then they just kind of freestyle as they go. We're going to do this A, B, and C. But the more seasoned ones kind of figure it out where like we need to find this content. This is the content that we're going to do. And this is the content plan that I have laid out for the stream. Right.
Yeah.
So was there kind of like a something that you saw from someone's stream that specifically inspired you to do something like that? Like you mentioned in your first stream that you wanted to do the hazmat thing. Did you realize that this was like the content that I'm gonna make? Like we should make this as a content as opposed to just going out and like doing regular mundane stuff. Like, you want to actually create something.
Yeah. I don't know, because I guess okay, I think a good way I can answer that maybe is like seeing someone do approach from getting from here to there and having that path laid out. Probably I'd say maybe Cook Sucks' birthday streams. That's kind of like I guess I can see like, okay, he's doing this and like to pay not necessarily homage, but also attract viewers from that certain community to his. And it's like you kind of see, oh, you're thinking to do this in return to get this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's like a connection.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And then that kind of started getting like the ball rolling for me, thinking, okay, so I should kind of think ahead of how this can affect this so I can get this in return.
Right.
In a sense. And essentially that can tie back into the hazmat thing where, okay, if I'm willing to put myself in a more, interesting situation where I can, put myself into a character that's, I guess more understandable to the viewer, that then maybe like I can grow my viewership in that sense, where people now come in expecting to see a certain thing and not necessarily just me. And it just kind of gives me that freedom to, I guess, approach things from a different angle and not have to necessarily worry what I want to personally, damn, this is a really good, this is a really good question. I don't know. I really want to answer this very well, but at the same time, like I've kind of just always. Like I have a general idea of what I want to do, but at the same time I just kind of freestyle it, because I feel in IRL the real gem in it is just the random encounters that you come along.
Yeah.
And you can't script that. And
Right.
I mean, you can prepare for it, and that's really all you can do. But like these past 2 weekends, this past weekend, I had 2 like events I wanted to go to, but they got canceled. So I had just had to improvise on the spot, and sometimes that leads to like, I ran into so and so or something like that.
Yeah.
Or getting kicked out. Yeah.
I think that kind of one of the things that is like a thing for streaming, whether it be IRL streaming, specifically IRL streaming, more so, but in general, all of streaming, like game streaming or whatever. The whole thing about streaming is that, in not just streaming, also content creation, VOD, YouTube, whatever. The thing is that as an entertainer, we are here to create a story, and the story has 3 parts. It's the beginning, the climax, and the ending, right? So we're here as like especially in the form of IRL streaming, is that we have to kind of consider how we're going to tell the story between where we are now and what the end point is going to be, right? Yeah. So it can be very small concept, like for like what you said, going in the hazmat suit, and then your goal is like you want to spread knowledge or awareness of COVID or whatever, right? Get people to be a bit more protective about what they want to do. So that's you're here now. Your goal is that you want more people to be more protective. So the whole IRL stream in the middle, the improvisation and all that stuff that happens, that is the storyline. That is what happens in there. So I think that's, I think that's kind of like, I feel like some streamers, they kind of miss that perspective of like, the reason why people are watching streamers is because they have this story to tell, and this is why they want to do that. So from here to there.
And for the record, I was actually serious about the COVID stuff, even though I did it in a joking manner. Like, I was actually like, yo, you guys should be very careful, and everybody didn't listen to me. They either laughed, scoffed, or like, oh, that was fairly early in the COVID. I was like way ahead of it. And actually, I saw like shortly afterwards, like every other streamer was like going out in a hazmat suit with a mask, and I was like, okay, I'm doing something right here. Like, I'm not gonna hate on like that kind of thing. I never found like any point of it like, oh, I did something first, I need credit kind of thing. But more so, I like to look at it as like I said, like, okay, I'm doing something right, because obviously these people who are at the top level of, I guess, what I would want to achieve or something like that, they're doing the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I have a little update. Thanks for saying
should have asked you that question. You answered it like perfectly.
Really? Okay, wait. Let's take a 1 second. I need to say something. So basically, I ordered food for us to eat and to talk over the food. I just found out that the order was canceled. So
oh, that's funny.
So what time is it now? It's like
7:30 maybe.
It's almost 8.
We literally spent like 30 minutes trying to order, only for it to get canceled.
Is it worth it to try and order it again, or should I just? Well, what do you think, Nezst? Should I
think
order
we'll
again?
just have to call it a mulligan.
Should I pass on ordering it again?
Yeah, I mean, if they canceled it, they'll probably cancel it again. They probably have like too many orders and like, too late. It's Sunday. We're trying to do.
No, what usually happens is that the delivery guy will see the order and then they'll pick it up, but then they'll decide later that it's not worth it for them, so then they'll like cancel it. Call another spot. Also, the other thing is Neszt is vegan, so I guess I just wanted to mention this. So like, part of there's 2 things about this podcast, well, maybe 3. One is that I wanted to talk about streaming, first of all. Secondly, I wanted to make this like a produced kind of like, with the camera switching and stuff. I noticed people are talking about the camera switching, and I apologize if the camera switching is a little too fast or if it gets a little annoying.
We're figuring it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We're figuring it out.
And 3, to kind of ease the tension between this, I wanted this to be over food, to have that kind of mukbang feeling that 2 people are talking to each other. We're like having a meal together. And some people are asking, are you controlling it with your toes? No, it's an automatic volume based switcher. So the louder that I talk and the louder that he talks, it'll switch in between the two. So yeah. Anyway, so I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, but for the record, I am not a professional streamer. I just do this for fun on the weekends.
Okay,
don't take advice from me. Take advice from this guy. This guy, he knows all the stuff. I just do this shit for fun.
I want to take this time to shout out a few podcaster streamers too. One by the name of Anime Daddy. His name is spelled with 2 T's, so A-N, however you spell anime, and then Daddy, D-A-T-T-Y. He has a really good podcast about streamers. And there's another podcaster. His name is Knackers. He has like more than one A. I want to say it's 3 A's. I don't remember. Yeah, but his name is Knackers, and he has a really good podcast too. Yeah, I'll probably upload it on TikTok or something like that. Okay, so let's get back into it. I wanted to say, so we were basically in the conversation of how you got into streaming. Mm-hmm. So is there anything else that kind of like that you can say about you becoming a streamer, and like, is there any experiences when you started streaming that it was pretty like a big realization to you, or was it just kind of like sailing or something like that?
I think just the more that I got into doing it, and like starting to realize like, wow, I'm putting a lot of time into this. Like I was saying, I do this every weekend. So that essentially, like, at first I was like, oh, cool, fun, like I'm going out every weekend, you know, doing different things. But after a while, it just started like dawning on me, like, wow, I'm investing a lot of time into this. Like, that's time that I could be spending, you know, friends or family. And I'm, you know, essentially
doing something better than streaming. Yeah.
I mean, that's debatable, right? There's some days I do feel like, man, I wish I wasn't streaming. I wish I could just take it off, because, like, obviously there's a huge thing with like momentum, consistency. But yeah, I think just the more that I started doing it and realizing I'm investing a lot of time in this, it just kind of more so hit me like, wow, like I'm, you know, this is becoming a more real thing and a part of like who I am and what I do. Yeah.
I guess it's also worth mentioning that your schedule from streaming is only on the weekends. You only stream Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Right. So is there a reason why you only stream on those days?
Yeah, because I still work full time. Yeah, I do accounting Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week. So really the only time I get to stream is on the weekends. I mean, I could try to push out like a stream during the week, but honestly, like, I just feel I wouldn't be able to give like, you know, my best effort. Right. Because, you know, coming off work, I would essentially just, you know, grab my stuff, head out, and then obviously LA traffic is horrible. So I wouldn't really be able to get out here till maybe, you know, later in the afternoon, like 7. And then that really only gives me like, what, 7 to 10 o'clock, 3-hour slot to make content, like stream, if there's even anything to do. And it just feels like it was just too demanding for me. So I just been sticking to the weekends.
So would you say that having that schedule of being only kind of, I don't want to say restricted, but like limited to streaming on the weekends helped you keep streaming, or is it like does it hinder you to continue to keep streaming?
I think a bit of both. Of both, yeah, because like I said, there's some days where I'm like, man, I wish I can just not stream, you know, this Saturday and spend it with friends or family. But then there's other times where I guess you could say, wait, can you repeat that question again?
How does your schedule on the weekend help you in terms, or help you or hurt you in terms of like you continuing to keep streaming? Because you've been streaming for like more than a year,
yeah,
right?
Like a year and a half now. Yeah. And then also, yeah, so there's, you know, times, weekends I wish I could take off, but also the fact that I get this Monday through Friday break definitely helps, because that gives me time to kind of reset, cool down, and also give me time to plan, like, okay, what do I want to do this weekend? I can just, you know, back to back to back. There's no intermission or break. Like, I can just run through it and get it done.
I see. So has it has there been a point? Well, maybe this I should save this question for later. But I was gonna ask, kind of like, has there been a point that you felt like streaming is too hard to do in the way that you stream? Like should you change your schedule, or should you just give up streaming or something like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think every streamer honestly goes through that like burned out period. Like you're kind of just stuck at this certain level of viewership or subscription, whatever you want to go off of, and it just kind of feels repetitive at a time. Like, hey, doing the same thing. I'm going here. I'm doing this. I'm gonna try this, and it just kind of feels repetitive and boring. But I feel like that's also just kind of part of the process. Like there's gonna be days.
Sure,
There's gonna be days like you just kind of have to grind it out, and there's the same way there's these lows, there's gonna be these highs in order to like balance out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So do you get the opposite of that, where like you feel the work that you're doing is definitely worth it, as I'm saying? So like maybe you feel sometimes streaming isn't worth it, right? I mean, I get that a lot. Like I was like, man, this shit is fucking totally not worth it. But sometimes you might feel like, yeah, I feel very gratified by doing it,
Yeah.
So do you feel that sometimes too?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like what did I do the other day? Or yeah, I mean, I would say like whenever I have like one of these interesting interactions, like earlier today, I was trying to find parking, and it took me a while. I finally did. I went to do whatever I wanted to do, and I was eating at this Thai food place, and I guess the owner, the lady that runs the shop, she saw I was streaming whatever, and she was like really cool, nice about it. And afterwards, she was like, "Oh, it's free. Like you can have it."
What?
Yeah, and
free
like,
food?
Yeah, and I was like, "Wait, what? Like, what did I do? I just came here and I ate, like, and just like filmed myself. Like, what? It's crazy, right?
Damn.
Free food, right? And there's moments like that. And then also like shortly afterwards, I'm trying to leave. I'm about to leave, and then there's like this couple with like a bunch of bags and groceries and food and stuff, and I guess they got dropped off, and I was like, my car was parked right in front of them, and they're like, "Oh, are you leaving?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh," they were telling me, "Oh, can I have your parking spot?" Because we just came in, like my son just moved here, we just flew in, and we came to like surprise him, and like they were literally right in front of his complex, and I was gonna essentially give them the perfect spot for everything to help them out for that reunion. So like things like that definitely like makes it feel worth it to me, like that I can play a part in making someone's day, essentially.
Damn, that's so weird. Did they tell you that whole story?
Yeah, and
why?
that's another thing. Yeah, like
what?
Like,
don't need to disclose all that stuff. Like, it's like,
right? Like why are people telling and like sharing me with this? Like, it's interesting, but like if I wasn't streaming, like there's like no way this would have happened. Like if I just went to go eat at the place like just any regular person, I would have had paid for my food. Or if I wasn't streaming and I just had that interaction, they wouldn't have like tried to like chat with me and dive into that conversation. Like they would have just said, "Oh, come in your parking spot, sure," and then I just get in and leave. But because they see I'm streaming with the camera, like, "Oh, what's the camera?" I explain what I'm doing, and then I have the chat. And I'm like, "Oh, people, I'm streaming. People are telling me so and so," and then it just kind of the conversation just goes from there.
Would you say people treat you differently because you're streaming?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the worst, but yeah.
Well, what in what situations was it for the worst?
For the worst. Well, yeah, like this past weekend, I was trying to go to this Young Nudie rap show.
Okay.
And it was hosted by the All Gas No Brakes guy. Yeah. And the promoter or whatever, the people who put on like these shows, I've never had any issues with like prior. Like I've filmed and streamed whatever, and like took photos whatever, and I had zero issues. But this time around, I get there, and they're like this group of guys approach me like right when I'm getting in, and they're like, "Oh, no, you can't have any cameras or anything unless with your filming for
media,
like somebody whatever." And I'm like the flyer or anything, like there was no mentioning of this.
Okay.
And like I was gonna try to elaborate with them, but then they like came off like very intimidating. Like you can just you can get that vibe from people sometimes. Like they're just not gonna put up with it just because you have a camera.
Right.
And so I couldn't get in, and I just decided, I'm just gonna leave it, and I just dipped.
That's true. Sometimes I in person, when they see the camera and everything, some people get kind of defensive because they're like, why do you have a camera? And especially it kind of depends on where you are. I feel like LA is this particular spot because there are parts of LA where people definitely are like, I don't want to be on camera for whatever reason.
Right.
And then you think to yourself, like, why don't you want to be on camera? Like, are you a felon or something? And you're trying to hide from the police or some shit. And then there's other people who are like, they see that you're doing this camera thing, and then they'll like come up to you, and then they'll be like, oh, let me shout out my Instagram, like follow me, like blah blah blah. Because I feel like I don't know if it's like a LA thing because people feel like they want to be in the spotlight or whatever. Yeah.
I think so to an extent. Yeah. There's also the people who just like, because they see you have a camera and everything, they kind of just want to like mess with you and provoke you just to like, I don't know, get it on it doesn't really make any sense, but I guess that's just kind of like the culture now with the whole like everyone wanting to be an influencer or like a video creator.
Right.
And I guess that's another reason why I personally think that people aren't too fond of cameras, because they think, oh, this guy's gonna try to come in here and like mess with us or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Let me get a question from the chat because I saw it in the chat. Milky Puff, thank you for the resub for 2 months. Thank you so much. She asked a question to jonsf, where's the food? Like I said, the food got canceled. I don't know what happened with the food. I don't think I got any other questions.
We had bananas.
But thank you so much for the resub. So okay, let's kind of we were kind of talking about how you got into streaming,
right,
coming from a non-streamer. So let's talk about like your life now as a streamer, especially how it comes through like your workflow and all this stuff. Is there a specific process that you go through that you think about your stream in terms of the creative, also maybe some of the tech that goes into it, or like is there like these kind of topics that you think about?
I mean, typically, so like I stream, like I said, weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I usually take Monday and Tuesday where I just kind of focus on just like me, work, my like personal life kind of things. And then come Wednesday I start browsing, okay, like what's going on in the city, or like what kind of events are going on, things that I'm like into, and then I just kind of go from there and lay it all out. Okay, so this and this is happening on this day, on this other day. And then another thing now that I guess I've been doing streaming for a while, I've kind of grown my channel. There's other like content creators I'm familiar with. Maybe they're like in town or something and they want to collaborate. Things of that nature I have to factor in now. So yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, it's nothing too fancy, I guess. I mean, I don't think.
So you don't do anything like special or particular about something like a ritual that you do weekly?
Oh, no, not really. Honestly, I think maybe once you hit like a higher size production level, you gotta up the ante and plan more. But I think at the like lower level where I'm at now, there's not really too much to push or aim to do. Or I could be wrong. I mean, technically, you should always want to push out the best you can do. But especially given the current times now, even though LA's now opening up, it's still a little bit tricky trying to plan things. Because people are trying to feel it out. It's not 100% like just let's go, we're back to that extent. But I don't really have any ritual other than like just Wednesday, Thursday I try to plan, look for things to do, and I mean that's about it for as far as planning and all that.
Okay, so this is kind of more of like I don't want to say technical question, but do you excuse me, is there a day that you put aside to do some kind of prep for your channel, not necessarily for your stream, but for your channel, such as like what's your thought about converting your live streams into like VODs or highlights and then uploading them to something else? Is this like do you do something like that weekly?
I was starting to do that, like
Yeah.
uploading VODs on YouTube. At first I was starting with just uploading the whole thing, and then I just kind of felt like I think a more condensed video would do better on YouTube.
Like an edit?
Yeah, an edit. And then just after a while, it just really becomes too time consuming, honestly. Like we're streaming for multiple hours. Like it's not just like 30 minutes or an hour. Like we have to go through minimum like 3-4 hours of content.
How long do you normally stream for on average?
I want to say on average, lately I've been streaming more, but I want to say 3-4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you do 3 to 4, or is just like that's just how it is?
I just found that kind of works out for me. Like I feel streaming for like 6-7 hours, it just really starts to wear on you, and I don't feel like I can produce the quality of content that I want to do in that amount of time. Like maybe if I'm in a different city and like different environment kind of thing, I can see how that works, but I just feel like the typical viewer is not gonna stick around a full 8-hour work shift watching stream.
Do you pay attention to your analytics?
Not really, no.
Not really.
I kind of did at the beginning, but I just found that like it just was too stressful, and like I found like having like go like, oh, let me see how I'm doing, compare, go back and forth, and I just found it just wasn't worth it. So now I'm just like, I just stream. I don't bother to check like the whole email, Twitch report or anything. I'm just like, whatever. I mean, it's not like I'm doing this full time, so I just kind of just rather not. I feel if you're doing what you want to do, and you find that right audience, it'll just grow organically over time. Like there's not just like a boom, let me take off from here. If I just switch up and do this, like I feel the right way to do it is just build it slowly over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I just wanted to say that I agree with you on that, where as a creator, if you pay attention to the analytics too much, it kind of gets in your head where you're like looking at the numbers. I remember there was a point last year where I was really close to getting partner. So at the end of every stream, I would see like my number, my viewership, like at the end of the stream, just make sure it was like 75 average the whole stream. And if it wasn't like 75 average, I would be pissed, right? I'd be like, fuck, like I just wasted a day of streaming or something like that. But I think that if you check your analytics every once in a while, maybe like once a month or once every other month, once, like you can decide the time. The thing that I wanted to mention, since you said you basically stream from 3 to 4 hours, which is what I do too, from what I understand is that there's like a rule of like a diminishing return. So the longer that you stream, let's say you stream 1 hour, right? 1 hour is not long enough to build so the way it works is like there's like a curve,
right?
And once you're within 1 hour, you're building your viewership up to a certain point. In the second hour, your viewership goes up, and then once it hits the third hour, it will start to plateau and then go down from the third to the fourth hour. That's kind of like it will change depending on the person and the type of stream that they are, and like also the type of day you stream and the hours and whatnot. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but you can kind of see your curve by analyzing all your previous streams to see how the curve looks and if there's like a relative thing. Obviously, sometimes something will spike if like something crazy happened or something like that. So it's kind of hard to pay attention to, but I also think that's kind of interesting. So anyways, that was just an interesting thing to bring up about.
Well, that'd be another cool thing to talk about, like partnership. What do you think about being partner? Do you think it's kind of a goal streamers should like set about? Do you think there's benefits, any perks to it, or is it a scam?
I have a whole like rant about that. I have a whole rant. Should we talk about that now? We're kind of talking about you. Okay, I'll get into it since Nezst asked. So okay, let's frame this question though, because Nezst, right now you are affiliate streamer on Twitch, which is like on the way to being partner. Do you have aspirations to become a partner?
I did at first. It just felt like, oh, cool, I can have this like kind of accomplishment that like I did something right, and then I get the emotes and all this like other little perks.
Yeah.
But I think over time, like I've seen other people get partnered, and it just kind of didn't seem like that grand of a deal anymore. It was just more like cool, high five from the upper ups, and that's pretty much it. Because I feel like, okay, I think it's cool that you were able to accomplish a certain thing, but beyond that, like that's just the beginning point. Like that is not like the end goal. There's like so much more to accomplish. Right. And I feel like if you just limit yourself to this one thing, like you just get stuck, and then afterwards it's like, what now?
For sure.
Yeah. So like I don't really care to hit partner. Like in my view, like I want to rather reach a certain level in my streams where I'm able to do certain content and have this certain amount of income and support to be able to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was actually a question that I was going to ask you, which is if you have goals for your stream, like what is the driving factor and your motivation that keeps you to continue to stream, and like what's the achievement that you want to realize as a streamer? If you've ever thought of that. Have you ever thought of that?
I kind of did at first to an extent, but I think over time, once again, I just rather just do whatever I enjoy to do. Like I know it's very cliche and it's typical of IRL streams, like, oh, I want to go to Japan, blah blah blah. But like for me personally, I've never got into travel internationally or Mexico, but I mean it's literally just like a drive down from out here. But like I just want to accomplish that for myself, and then it'd be cool to travel different countries and whatnot. I know that's already been done in like the IRL scene. If anything, that's kind of the what would you call it, the goal or the end game essentially. Like you want to become an IRL streamer that travels and goes to different parts. And even though that is like a big part of what I want to do, I think ultimately I would like to showcase just the underground music scene around the world. I think that would kind of be my like main goal, and I guess document that kind of scenery.
Really?
Yeah.
What have you done to document that? I know you've been to some events where you've kind of showed off like the parties and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be like one part of it, but eventually it would be cool to, I guess, meet some of these like artists and have like one-on-ones with them, sort of in an interview-ish kind of format, but more so in a discussion would be interview. So I guess it'd be kind of a less professional, more candid interview format with people involved in the scene and bringing light towards them.
I see. So would you kind of consider yourself like an underground music journalist? Is that kind of what you wanted to get into?
That's that would be what like I would want to do, but currently I haven't been able to do. But that is the plan.
That's something that you wanted to do eventually.
That's what I want to be a big core of like my stream. Like when people come to my stream, like I want them to have that interest and look forward to it and expect that.
That's very interesting, because I feel like that does not exist at all.
Exactly. I especially in the Twitch scene. Maybe on YouTube there is. Well, there is on YouTube. Yeah. But I feel on Twitch there really is not really anyone kind of covering. There's only really like people into like the hypebeast streetwear kind of thing. Right. But even then, that's pretty like just surface
that's not their
level
content. Right?
Yeah. It's not really like their main focus. It's just more so like a piece of them or like an accessory or extent of who they are. Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. So in terms of like we were talking about the goals, do you have any kind of I don't really like talking about goals that much, because goals can be like a really tricky thing to talk about, because there's like numerical goals that people consider, and I feel like we shouldn't like, me personally, I don't want my goals to be like a numerical goal. like, oh, we get this amount of viewers or this
Yeah.
amount of money or like subs or something like that.
Mm-mm.
Whereas I wanted to be like, for me, my inspiration was that I wanted to make content that did not exist on Twitch
Mhm.
yet, because I feel like a lot of people kind of end up doing the same things. But what really inspires me is the streamers who they make the next trend.
Mhm.
There's the next meta, like the whole pool, or what is it, the hot tub stream or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Whoever came up with that, they started that whole thing, right?
Right,
And that's like a genre now.
And they're gonna be forever attached to that.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool,
right?
yeah.
So it always interests me, like, what's gonna be like the next thing. So the reason why I got into IRL streaming was because IRL streaming was that at that time.
Okay.
No one was doing IRL streaming.
Right.
Streaming outside was like impossible.
Right.
At that time. So when I saw people do it, I was like, wow, this is so interesting. No one's doing it. I want to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned all these things, how to do it, and then I got the backpack and all that stuff, and got really into doing IRL streaming. And then, but the more you do it, the more jaded you become because of how difficult and how hard it is, and you think to yourself like, man, is this worth it or not? And then you get into like the other things where, you know, I'm not reaching my goals or whatever, or something like that. So then you have to kind of scale back, and you have to think about like, why am I doing this again in the first place? So this is kind of the reason why I started this podcast to begin with, was because I felt like this content didn't exist on Twitch, and it was very interesting to me to make it. Farting ASMR stream, yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty interesting to talk about, because I just mentioned the backpack thing.
Yeah.
So Nezst, you actually brought your backpack, right?
Yes, I did.
So
Ooh.
I wanted to, before we talk about your backpack,
Mm-hmm.
can you talk about quickly, like, about the other setups that you've experimented with before you got the backpack?
Yeah. I think I've pretty much gone through every setup, honestly.
Really?
So I started like what everybody starts, the phone.
Right.
Just a Samsung phone. Pretty
I
much
remember
that's
that.
it.
I
Yeah.
remember that I sniped you
Yeah.
when you were in Koreatown. You were streaming on your
Mama
phone.
Lion.
Yeah.
Shouts out Mama Lion. Yeah, and then after from that, I like, man, I want to take my production level better, and just, you know, better quality. So obviously the live view backpack is like the king, top dog right now. But it's expensive. It's $1,000 for just this tiny little thing, and even though you get that, you still need like so much more.
Right.
So I just was constantly looking like, hey, what can I like kind of be that medium ground between a phone and a live view?
Yeah.
So then I found the GoPro was able to live stream, and there was like really nobody streaming with the GoPro, so I couldn't find like anything on it. So I just decided to just try it. So I tried it with the GoPro Hero 8, and I had some success with it because quality was a bit better. You had that same wide angle fisheye whatever lens of the Sony, and then I had that freedom of something so much smaller compared to a phone, and just more mobile, easier accessible,
And cheaper.
yeah, and cheaper, right? And all I had to do was just hotspot from my phone, so essentially kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But then after a while, even though it was a little bit better quality, just the connection wasn't reliable. It just wasn't. And then on top of that, the battery life was pretty bad. So eventually over time, even though I did enjoy the GoPro, it just, I guess I kind of outgrew it, because there was like things I wanted to stream, but I wouldn't be able to because I didn't have the proper connections, data plans or whatever. So my stream would F, and then obviously nobody wants to watch that. Nobody's gonna stick around, and yeah. So after a while of using the GoPro, I tried to do the Raspberry Pi bonder thing.
Yeah.
I had help from Clutchy Dutchy. I think Clutchy Dutchy.
Yeah,
Live.
shout out to Clutchy Dutchy.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he changed his name to like Clutch with a number 1 or something.
like that. Yeah,
I forgot exactly. Hey, if anyone in the chat knows what Clutchy Dutchy's new name is, feel free to shout him out.
Yeah, he helped me out make the Raspberry Pi bonder thing.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised he was able to do that. Like all just remote wirelessly for me. And it wasn't, it kind of did work, but it just wasn't that like I guess I had a bigger picture in mind that it'd be a lot more reliable, but it just ultimately wasn't.
Yeah.
So then I had to scrap that, and then I just went straight to the live view.
You just gave in for the live view.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna do something, might as well just go all in. You know, save myself some headaches.
Yeah.
And if
all right, let's check it out.
It works out.
Let's see. Let's
Cool.
talk about Nest's backpack. I'm gonna turn off the switching.
Let's
And then just go over here. I was gonna bring out his backpack, and then so first of all, I noticed
you gotta have the Tums. Essential, essential to every IRL stream.
All right, this is the part of the stream where you I don't know if you guys ever see these like video these
here.
studio tours or video like YouTube video tours or something like that of people's rooms, so you kind of get to see what their like work life is. So this is kind of like the equivalent to that. So walk us through your backpack, and look at this backpack. This is a Nike backpack too. It's a mesh backpack.
This
wow.
is I just have this little pin over here for right now, but yeah. So this is a Nike Brasilia mesh backpack.
I'll put it
It's
on
all over mesh, so that way you know, max breathability. Then we have the Tums.
Why do you have Tums?
You need Tums. You never know. You know,
Do you always carry that?
Sometimes.
That's
Because
a
you never
lot
know.
of Tums.
You never know. You know, you eat something or
Not even like the
heartburns.
small box of Tums.
Well, I mean, just have a bunch.
That's not even Tums. That's like
It's the bootleg version. it's the bootleg 7-Eleven version. It's to save money. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Why are you gonna
Alright.
pay more just because it says Tums on it?
okay.
All right, so we got that. And then another thing that's essential: hand sanitizer. You gotta have this, especially.
Okay,
like
yeah,
today's
that's pretty
setting.
important these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then on the side, we have our mount for the selfie stick.
Oh, that one is the long one.
What do you mean
The
long one?
silencer.
Oh, there's a smaller version.
There is a smaller version.
Oh,
Yeah.
I might need to get that, but yeah.
Okay.
Basically, selfie stick, tripod mount. Boom, boom,
The sand tree.
boom.
Nice.
Then the little phone mount right here. This
Okay.
thingy. Boom. Click your phone. And then this is something I got recently. This style of mounting from
The Ulanzi.
Yeah, Ulanzi.
This is the Ulanzi
it's like quick release, thing.
mount,
Yeah.
So there's no light on that side. Try to put that there. Oh, this one doesn't focus either. But I mean, yeah, you guys get the idea.
Yeah. Alright, slap this just right there. And then almost done with the exterior of the backpack. Oh, also I have this. I have a flashlight slash
Dang, that's a
laser.
buff flashlight.
Yeah, flashlight.
Oh,
And
it's like a police flashlight.
yeah, it says police on it.
Oh,
If
it
you can
says
see
police on
yeah,
it.
it says police on
Well, what the hell?
it. It used to have an extra feature, but it doesn't work anymore. But there's like a button off and on switch, and you would press this, and it would do like a little light show. But it's not working anymore. I might have to charge it, I think.
Is that like one of those taser things?
It's a flashlight.
It's a flashlight. Okay.
It's
just in
only a
case.
flashlight.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so almost done with the
Very
exterior.
fancy flashlight. What's over here?
So we have the JBL. I think this is the 3, right? Clip 3? JBL Clip 3?
Yeah, right.
I just put tape on this because it's orange and I don't like the branding.
Mm.
And then there's tape on the side because I broke it, and this faceplate keeps falling off. But the tape's also falling off. And then once again the Ulanzi quick release mount here. And then
The swap between the shoulder and the selfie stick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And switch back and forth like hella
Right.
fast. And then I recently started using this one that like is pretty much standard for every IRL streamer.
This is a stuntman shoulder strap.
Wait, yeah,
So you
like,
can mount the camera onto there.
Yeah. I used to just use the Ulanzi. They made like their own kind of mount, and I kind of liked it, but I don't know. I wasn't too fond of it after a while.
Yeah.
So I'm giving this a try recently, and it's been
This one is
really
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying this more. It gives me like more flexibility for like
Right.
different angles.
And it will be you can level it out easier.
Yeah. All right. So that's
Sounds
pretty
pretty
much the outside of the bag.
Let's take it
So now
inside.
We'll get to the guts. All right. Let's open this up. And
whoa, organized.
a lot of cables.
Damn.
Boom. We'll get to
Oh,
this
you have
other
two.
side. Yeah, yeah.
All right,
We'll
get to
we'll
that
get
in
to
a
that
bit.
side later.
Okay.
Cool, cool, cool. All right. So, usually this camera mounts, or this camera would go onto this kind of thing. I'll just put it here for now. You can kind of see how it works, right? You just boom. Mine's is a little broken because I got sand on it. But essentially, it's just supposed to click in there.
War scars.
Yeah, you can see all.
It doesn't even click in.
Wear and tear on it.
Jesus. It's
There you
been
go,
through a lot.
perfect,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
And then I have this like pivoting ball mount on it to just give me, you know, more flexibility at different angles if I want to do. And then I have this Sony cable clamp thing just to hold the cables in place and not like be pulled out. I know there's a different version, but I just ended up going with this. I liked it better.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than the one that I have.
And then this is the Sony action camera AS300.
Typical.
Yeah. People use this one, or is it the X4000 or 3000?
The FDR X3000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got this like custom mount case thing from eBay, from like some dude in like
Ukraine.
Yeah.
The guy from Ukraine is cool.
Yeah, it was like $70 around there. I
You
kind
got
of
scammed.
overpaid, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
you know, it's a good one. It has like this little wind thing already installed and whatnot. I like it. It's cool.
Let me mention something about this thing. So basically, there's no light here, so that's why it's kind of dark. The light's over on this side, but basically this is a 3D printed skeleton that goes over it, and it was made by this guy who's in Ukraine, and his store is called Uante, Uante, and he prints it every once in a while, which is why if you go to his website right now, it'll be like sold out. But he's really cool, and every once in a while he'll put it back online. But yeah, so your camera's on.
Yeah, oh, it's on?
Yeah.
Oh. And then I just kind of glued this like hot shoe mount on the side.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I literally just glued it to the side of it, so I can put like a mic
External
or like
mic.
a light or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the camera side of things. I'll just mount this over. Oh, it's already mounted. Put that to the side. Cool. And then we get to the brains and guts and all that good stuff for the live view. Ooh, this looks nice.
Wow.
All right.
Very organized.
It's kind of organized. I'm missing a third modem. I started using a third modem this past weekend. Yeah.
Which one is your third modem?
The Nighthawk M1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where is it?
And I would just I forgot it. I left it.
Okay.
This is one part about IRL stream. You gotta you charge everything afterwards, and then you forget it. Yeah. So it's charging at home right now. I forgot to. It happens.
Right.
It happens.
That's funny to me because I forget that shit all the time. Like, all the time. I always forget like something. It's good to know that other IRL streamers also mess up as much as I do.
All right, so I guess we can start. We'll start with the small thing. So we got this modem here. I don't know what kind of modem this is. John helped me get it. Do you know?
That's the Verizon 8800L.
Yes, it's that one.
Yeah.
I use a visible SIM on this one, which is basically Verizon. It's like what do you call it?
It's like a subsidiary of
yeah,
Verizon.
There you
kind
go.
of.
Yeah. And then this is a newer one I got. This
One's pretty interesting.
Yeah, this is the 5G M something from T-Mobile. So it's able to run it gets 5G on this. So
Really?
Yeah, this like pretty much carries all my stream, to be honest.
What's your like bit rate that you get off this usually?
Oh, this, like I said, this like usually carries like my stream. Like the visible usually doesn't have to do much.
How much
like,
bit rate do you get for both of these typically?
typically like I'll get like maybe 5 from the 5G one or
5,000?
Yeah.
Damn.
And then this one would just like pick up whatever is like left. Just I guess just to like lighten the load on it or something.
That's interesting because I use this one and this one carries my
Really?
setup. Yeah, I usually get like 5,000 from this one.
Yeah, this 5G one it's pretty dang good.
How much was this one?
I got it when they were having a sale, like when they just introduced it.
Mhm.
I want to say it was like around 200 around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And what's the service on this one?
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. Okay. Got it. I have to look into.
Yeah,
I might get
it's
that.
pretty good. I want to say I want to recommend it, but I'm not gonna go on record for that.
Okay.
All right, cool. So yeah, 2 modems, and then the third one would be the Nighthawk M1, which I'm running Cricket Wireless, which is AT&T.
Okay.
It's worked for me pretty good too. That one is like, if my 5G one isn't carrying, the Nighthawk is what does most of the load after that.
Got it.
And I would just strap it like in here, tuck it in here, and I will connect it via the Ethernet port on the live view. And then afterwards, your typical Max Oak 50K milliamp thing. Basically, I think it'll give me like, if I'm just running this setup, I don't know how long. I never really pushed it. Like I've streamed like maybe 8 hours the most, and I still had like half a battery left.
Yeah. You can typically do it from 10 to 12 hours.
So yeah, maybe it'll give me like 12, 14-ish, I want to say, if I ever stream that long, if there's ever any need. And through this, it powers the live view, which and also powers the camera, charges the camera. Charges the live view, which in turn charges the modems, keeps those up and running. And then yeah, the live view solo right here. This is
Got it.
basically standard and king for
The
any
encoder.
IRL stream that you need. Yeah. And that's pretty much the setup, I guess. Oh, and
what else do you have in there?
and then on the side here, let's move this. No, I'll move this over here. See how much like stuff we have to carry? It's insane. This is all in our backpack. Just to do like a simple stream of going outside.
Is it heavy?
I mean, every time I like land it off to somebody, like, wow, this is pretty heavy, but I guess you get used to it after a while.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. It's not too
This
bad.
has a good back.
I guess
Yeah.
it's not too bad. I mean, my shoulder does hurt after a while,
Uh-huh.
but you just kind of have to suck it up,
Got
I
it.
guess. Where's my wait? I had another one. Oh wait, I took it out already. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is just like a
Second organizer.
Yeah, just like backup, extra HDMI, extra cable to charge like my phone or something.
Got it.
Power bank. I think this is the Anchor like 20,000 or something.
Uh-huh.
And it just has one port each. I don't know if you can see that. It's too dark.
Try to see that.
And yeah, pretty much on the back. Can't show everything at the back because I forgot to clean it. But I have this cable tie thing.
Oh,
kinda helps.
Wow.
And then just like more miscellaneous like USB kind of cables.
Got
yeah.
it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it for the bag, yeah.
If anyone is running a similar setup, you guys should always carry extra HDMI cable, at least one, because HDMI cables break all the time for whatever reason. So
True,
good.
that's true.
that it keeps on.
Although this whatever company this cable I bought, oh no, this is a different one. I bought like some random Amazon ones.
Uh-huh.
Which one is this? U Green. These have lasted me the most compared to like other HDMI cable brands. So shouts out to them.
Right.
And yeah, this probably, I've actually wondered how much this weighs. But
I have a scale,
Ooh.
but it doesn't. I don't think it would be heavy enough
Oh.
to figure it out because there has to be like a minimum weight to put onto it. I wish I had something more of like a gram scale,
Okay.
but I don't participate in activities that require gram scales.
Yeah, but this is pretty much the whole setup. And then you have to make sure to charge it pretty much every stream or so, or maybe like
After
every
every
other stream. Yeah.
What I usually do is I just keep everything plugged in to the the
Battery.
Max Hook, and then the Max Hook will charge everything
Right.
else. That's what I do.
Yeah, I actually have a second one of these, which helped. just like in case I forget. Like you said, I leave it plugged in
Yeah.
and charging, and then it's like draining this. Like it's charging right now as we speak. I don't know if I could
Mm.
show you. Well, you can see the light on the.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
charging right
the
now.
camera, and then the live view as well. I can see the light right there. See, I'm on half a battery, 2 of 4.
There we go.
And yeah, you pretty much gotta make sure you plug in and charge everything.
Got it.
And if you forget just any one bit, you're gonna have a very tough time. Very bad time.
So this is what he goes through every time he streams.
Yes, this is what's inside the backpack for everybody wondering.
Thanks for showing.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's like this little fruit fly that flies or that's been flying around.
It's from the bananas. He
Yeah,
wants
maybe. Ah, that explains that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Since we ate the bananas, that
he
fruit
wants the
fly is
banana.
coming in. Oh shit. Yeah, it's cool to see. Like, I think it's interesting. Yeah, if you ever go see those, they have these like these YouTube series where they go into like YouTube creators' houses and studios and see what they're working with. This is kind of like the streamer equivalent, I guess, or like the IRL streamer equivalent.
Yeah, but this setup is like pretty much the like standard like for IRL streaming.
Sure.
Besides a phone, like if you're not using the phone, you're more than likely gonna be using this.
Right.
But for the record, this is very expensive. Do you know how much it costs like overall? I remember you did like you went over it.
I did an analysis. It cost just to start up that whole backpack would cost probably about around $2,000.
Sheesh.
And then not including the monthly recurring fees of whatever how much the monthly recurring fees is, which could be between $300 to $500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much. So much fun. Well, I guess that can segue into like, you know, IRL streaming, how much you make from it in comparison to, you know, is it sustainable in a sense?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So since you are bringing it up, there's more fruit flies coming in. They want to get involved in the conversation too. Would you say that IRL streaming is worth it? As a very general question.
Oh no, hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell
It is not worth it. I think the top streamers mostly if you're gonna do IRL, do not make it like your main thing. Like it's especially starting off. Like this is a terrible decision by me, a terrible financial decision. I am not making a lot of money on Twitch. Well, now I'm making like a you know, I'm making a nice amount. I've been making just barely like these past 3 months. I've made $200, which I mean pretty much covers my backpack expenses. But like outside of that, like gas, you know, going to eat, events, things like that, it's just constantly wasting money and you're not really getting anything in return. I think the best way to go about IRL streaming is if you make it like just a second part of your streaming kind of career thing.
Your hobby.
Yeah, no, not necessarily hobby, but like just do it once in a while. Don't do it like an everyday thing because it's just too tasking and demanding. It's not worth it. Too much money.
Okay. Gotcha.
I wouldn't go in. I would like if someone tells me, oh, I want to go into IRL streaming and like that's all I want to do, I would just say, no, just use a phone. Don't like start off with a backpack or any of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not worth it. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Like prior to when I started like making some like kind of money, like dude, if I didn't have a full-time job, like there's no way I can afford it. And even then with the full-time job, like it was still tough paying this like extra expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the way I would put it is that if you are looking to getting into streaming, especially IRL streaming, or just streaming in general, don't look at it as like a thing that you're gonna get money from.
Yeah.
This is like if you are at the beginning of your streaming career and you're just starting to stream, if you are already considering the like the income that you would make off of streaming, and that's like a factor for you, then it's going to be really hard for you to continue streaming because you're not going to be making money for a while.
I just it's hard to it's hard to say yes, this is a good idea. It's just really hard. You can say do it, it's fun, but if you're talking about from a reality standpoint, it's there's just so many obstacles against you to be supportive for it, right? So
I guess in a way that's kind of the allure to it, that it's difficult to do.
True. That's actually a great point. Not many people can do it. I mean, on top of just buying the equipment, you have to learn how to set it up, how it works, all that, troubleshoot. Yeah.
How frustrating is it to deal with all that stuff? Is it hard?
It's horrendous. It's horrendous, especially in the beginning. You don't know anything. If it wasn't for John, there's no way I could be able to the point where I'm at now. Trying to the servers, alerts and all that. The tutorial videos you did, those helped out a lot. Setting up the modems. What the hell did I have to do? The code or something. The bond, not bond. Some weird numbers you have to
there's
put.
definitely some engineering that
it's
know, how am I even supposed to know what RTMP is, and
I have to learn all this just to film myself doing something so mundane as going to the market or going to eat. What? Why? It's just such a mountain to climb to just do something so simple.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is there anything else you want to say about the tech aspect of streaming?
From the tech aspect of streaming,
what's the hardest part of streaming? Would you say the tech is the hardest part of streaming, or is there something else that's harder?
I think I'd say the tech, honestly.
The tech is the hardest.
Because I guess you can also argue creating the content, getting used to carrying all this stuff with you out in public and dealing with that your reaction. But I feel the tech is probably the hardest because on top of it being very expensive, it's kind of hard to come by now, especially because everything we're doing remotely from home now. So a lot of these stuff these gadgets are in demand for just everyday use compared to well, actually, that wouldn't make much sense, right? It feels more. No, what I meant to say is there's not really a huge market for this. It's very niche.
Yeah.
So finding these specific parts and putting them together, it's pretty difficult because you have to go to different subsects of what this gadget is used for,
right?
And you're turning it around and using and repurposing it essentially.
When was the most frustrated you have ever been on your stream? Can you recall a moment that was just
my most frustrated moment?
You just wanted to turn the stream off, dude, fuck it, I give up or something.
I think maybe when I was having some some server issues, and then I forgot to charge my stuff. One of my modems died, and then I drove all the way to somewhere on the OC. It was a long drive. It took me an hour. And my server was acting up, my modems were acting up, and then it's I barely have started stream, so it's I came all this way to try to do something, and I'm essentially not gonna be able to because this technology is not allowing me.
Okay.
And I can't really troubleshoot it on the fly. I don't have a computer or desktop or anything. And I'm just pretty much at the will of these gadgets.
Is there any kind of things that you've learned from doing IRL streaming, precautions that you would take from the tech side?
What do you mean?
It's things that you've learned that you would give as advice to someone.
Advice to someone
on the tech
if
side,
they want to.
You should charge your battery every night. Or
Yeah,
make
this
it
cable
or this and that.
Yeah, make it a
What's
habit.
the rule? What is the 10 commandments of being an IRL?
Yeah, like
streamer?
as soon as you get home, make it a habit to make sure you like plugged in and charge everything.
Yeah.
Because when you wake up in the morning, if you even wake up on time, right? You're not gonna have enough time to charge it, and it's just you're gonna start off terribly in an awful mood. You're already thinking like I have to do this and that, and just to make sure I'm able to even do this.
Yeah.
Because like it sucks. I forgot like, cause like you said, leave the battery charged in to charge everything, and then I wake up, the max soak battery is basically dead.
Yeah.
And then everything else can basically just run like for an hour itself, and now you have to wait to charge the max soak, which is gonna take a couple hours, and then that's gonna cut into your original streaming time. And then let's say if you had like a timed event, now you can't do the timed event.
Yeah.
There goes your
By
stream.
then, you don't even want to do it anymore.
Yeah, and then like you're already frustrated, and then you have viewers that are like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, where's the stream? You're late. Why aren't you streaming?" And it's just like,
Do you ever get that feeling like before you start streaming, like maybe an hour or so, where you're thinking about what you're gonna do in your stream before you like press the start streaming now button, that you feel like, man, I don't want to stream. Do you ever get that feeling, or it's like you feel like everything's like stacked against you, and you're just like, dude, fuck yeah, I just want to cancel it today?
not really, honestly.
Not really.
I think because I have that gap, because I don't stream during the week.
Right. Okay.
It gives me that kind of, if anything, if anything, kind of makes me look forward to streaming sometimes. Because like I'm like, all right, finally I had a like rough week at work. I just want to get away from that, and streaming can kind of be an escape sometimes for me. Even though there's times, like you said, it's like I'd rather do something else than stream, like spend time and do other activities I enjoy. But I think for me personally, since like I didn't get to like go out and like explore like growing up until like recently, because of IRL, it makes me enjoy IRL.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Hey, 1 second. We actually, in that segment, we got a raid from Steph Lee.
Oh, Steve
Thanks
Lee.
for the raid. And I got another follow from Pokemon Legend here. Welcome, everyone, to the stream. This is jonsf. This is... I have to like go through this whole thing again, but welcome everyone. You guys are watching a live recording of this podcast that I decided to start, which I'm here with my first guest. His name is Neszt today, but his channel is twitch.tv/NEZST Neszt.
Like a bird's nest.
This is him. Yeah, like a bird's nest. Thanks everyone for coming into the stream. Oh, I see my brother Relic is in the chat too. What's up, Relic? I hope you're enjoying Los Angeles. And yeah, welcome everyone to this podcast. Basically, what this podcast is about is I invite other creators, specifically now IRL streamers, to come in to talk about their experience with IRL streaming. So you guys are... I'm hoping that the point of this podcast is to give a more fuller picture of what the life is of an IRL streamer. Maybe, you know, it's not all fun and games. It's not all going out and dancing in the street and being like making like an ass of myself and stuff like that. And, you know, getting a shit ton of donations all the time. And like, you know, it's not the best fucking life. But actually, I want to ask you this. So we were basically just talking shit about doing the IRL stream, how it's like not really that worth it.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. But it's not all that horrible, right? It's not all that bad. Right.
I think you really have to, you know, really want to do it, because it'd be so much easier to just like do something like this, just stay home, and it's such a low, I guess, low effort, low risk kind of thing. Whereas, you know, having to go outside and, you know, it's not a controlled environment.
Right.
You don't know what's gonna happen.
So we were just talking about some of the things that are kind of tricky when it comes to doing IRL streaming, some of the things that are annoying and difficult, which is just only from one side, which is the tech side.
Right.
But let's say once you get it all going and you're out in the field now, now you have to deal with, like you said, there's random stuff that happens. People can be weird or whatever. they can be weird and they can act weird. The other thing is the chat can really get at you too.
Yeah.
So basically you're streaming to the people who are coming into your chat. There's a lot of times, chat people can be very supportive, and there can be a lot of people in the chat who they just want to troll you, they just want to do shit to you or whatever. Or like maybe there's even a guy who will snipe you and like do something fucking weird on your stream.
Yeah.
So how is your experience as being like an IRL streamer here in LA? Have you had any like really good or bad experiences with like your chat culture or anything like that?
I want to say for the most part I've had a really good chat.
Good chat. Supportive.
Yeah, I feel like they've been genuinely supportive. But I mean, I would say in the beginning, I think it really just comes down to the style of content and how you approach stream. Because like in the beginning I was doing like more like edgier content, right? So obviously it's like people that are not necessarily there watching like for like who I am and what I want to do, but are there expecting a certain character kind of content, and if they don't get that, they're like whatever, what's this, blah blah blah. And obviously because of the internet culture, everyone's just like very outspoken and brash, and it's kind of accepted, unfortunately, so it can get pretty toxic. But I noticed once I started just doing stuff I want to do, it started bringing in people who are interested in the same thing, and those that were like into the more kind of weird edgy content, they just kind of slowly faded away over time.
So did that lead you as like a streamer to have a more positive outlook on streaming? Like now that you've kind of controlled the way that you feel like you should do your content, it brought in the people who supported that type of content and allowed you to make more of that content. Is that kind of what is going on? Or like
I want to say for the most part. But I mean, like a good example right now, there's literally one of the chat had said something about Nezst being what's the sexiest thing chat has asked you. And I mean I get that that's like funny, right? But like I like to, I'm not saying it's like a weird bad comment, it is kind of weird, but I just want to point out how like that's so accepted in this field, right? And it's like, if you really look at it from like an outside perspective, like let's say you're not familiar with Twitch, you'd be like, why is this accepted? Like this is so weird. Like why are people so open about asking and like going into these topics? I think that's just interesting but weird of Twitch. Sometimes
I get pretty like obviously annoyed or upset of some of the things that come into the chat, because it's like I feel like a comment like that I would never come across that type of comment if we were in person. Like if you're out there on the street, and you ran into someone and you had a conversation with someone, you would never hear that. Like now that it's on the internet and people are through the chat, like all manners are gone. There's no manners.
And you would think like, okay, this is on the internet, it's gonna stay forever. Like you should think twice about what you're saying. But if anything, like it's so accepted and
got him.
And like so accepted, and if anything kind of praised as like that someone is willing to say these kind of things. I think that's really interesting. But for the most part, like I know, or at least I like to believe like that, like they're doing it kind of like in a kind-hearted, joking way. I don't think they necessarily mean it, because other than like these like random comments from time to time, like they act or behave or comment, whatever you want to describe it, like in a more gentle, normal manner, I guess you can put it that way. So I'm like kind of like, okay, cool, funny, whatever. I don't mind it too much, because I know and I see them like constantly in my stream.
You do it too, right?
I mean,
you come from the spawn of the
I would say I do have that tendency, but I'm working on it and I have improved. But it's just a very interesting aspect of Twitch chat culture.
Okay, before I go into the next question, I got a couple hundred bits. So due to the nature of the content and the way that we're having this conversation, I can't really go into the chat that much and like read what's going on. So if you guys have any like burning questions or things you guys want to say, the best way to do that is through donating so that I can actually have the log of what you guys wanted to say. And every once in a while in between segments, I will go into that and I'll read it. So my first question that I got actually second question. The first one was from Milky Puff, but Juan's donated 100 bits and he said, Nest, would you date a fan if she flies to LA for a few days?
No, I would never do that. That's weird. Why would you date someone who just likes this like idea of you? They don't. I mean, I guess IRL you kind of do tend to like show who you are, but I don't know. I just think that's weird, and also it creates like a you just open this kind of door for these kind of like people and issues. Like, do you really want someone who like fantasizes you in this like weird way because they see you from this aspect, or would you rather kind of get to know someone from who's not really familiar what you do from this and that kind of thing? I like to just keep business as business,
right?
And keep that other stuff separate.
Actually, we had this conversation the other day on my channel when I streamed, and the topic was like because we were kind of brainstorming on the questions that I was going to ask you today. One of the topics was, how would you deal, or what is your thought, and how do you deal with the parasocial relationship that happens on Twitch between a streamer and a viewer? Because this parasocial relationship happens between celebrities where they post on Instagram, and all of the fans, they could see how lavish their life is, like, oh, they're driving a car or whatever. Right. So the fans and stuff feel like they know them more. I feel like this relationship is amplified on Twitch because the viewers can now see us like live and at like very often time, like every week or so. And so they know exactly what we do and how we talk and everything. And there's less of a barrier. So how do you feel about the parasocial relationship between yourself and the viewers, and your viewers, I should say?
I honestly try, not that I don't I try not to think about it, but I just feel like it just kind of comes with it. And I mean, I haven't really had any issues with like anyone being weird and like some like things like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I can't really comment on it too much, but I do see it, and it's very common in the Twitch community. And I think it's just really, there's not too much you can do about it, because how are you gonna handle a chat of like hundreds of people? Like it's
and
really just
know all of them on a personal level or anything like that.
I think you can just at best just kind of touch on it like once in a blue moon, or like have some sort of like disclaimer maybe, so like remind the viewer or something like that. But that is an issue that does like come up.
Have you ever been sniped before by a viewer?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that?
I think I mean, they've honestly all been like
cool.
really chill and cool. Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't had like a weird like sniper yet.
Yeah, same. I haven't.
But I think it also plays in part that like I do talk about it. Like, I'm not too fond of sniping.
Really?
Like,
yeah. I was gonna ask. The next question was like, what's your thought about sniping?
Yeah, I'm not too fond on it, but like I understand it. But the way that I like see it and like want to approach it is more than like just. I know a lot of people say just get in, get out, say hi, but I think like even then it's like there's a time and place for that. Like technically the streamers at work, I know, you're working, you're just filming yourself doing your like regular life. That's not work.
Yeah.
But essentially that's what they're doing, and you have to respect that. And you're just kind of throwing off the flow of things. Like sometimes it could contribute to content, but that's just like so far and few. And ultimately it's like you don't really like, if you know this like the streamer, you're familiar with them, they know you in your chat, then you can kind of make an exception there, like if there's like some sort of mutual understanding, knowing.
Yeah.
But besides that, I just feel like it's just only like, once again, opening a door for just unnecessary problems.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I mostly just would say limit it to like people who are well known in that community, like
people that you're more comfortable with to have snipe you, right?
Like people that in the chat, they're like, oh, like everybody knows this person. He's like well known. Everybody like
reputable.
Yeah, there you go. And besides that, like other streamers, right?
Yeah.
But even then, that can get a little touchy, because it's like
depends on the streamer.
Yeah. Like Like there's a lot of LA streamers like coming right now, and I'm getting in my chat like, yo, Nezst, go snipe so and so, and I'm like, why would I want to snipe them? Like, I don't know them, they don't know me. It's like, what am I gonna do? Like, hey, hello, I do the same thing as you. That makes us friends. Like, that's not how it works. Like, that's not how it works, right? Like, let's say it's like a streamer that like they've rated me. Like, okay, there's like some sort of familiarity, right?
There, yeah.
It kind of makes it a little bit more okay, but I still feel like you should have some sort of like talk prior to just randomly doing it.
Yeah, there needs to be some formality.
Yeah.
Right.
And then on top of that, it's like, how would I put it? Like, you don't want to come off as you're only there to try to like leech or things of that nature, because ultimately, I guess that's what it really is. It's networking, it's business. Like, you're putting your self business as a streamer, and you're willing to put it and try to pull from someone else to essentially help grow yourself as well.
Right.
And that cannot be like well received by others, and that's why I emphasize like have some sort of talk prior agreement.
There should be some compassion there. We're not paparazzi or something that's trying to suck some clout off of other streamers and stuff like that, right?
So like the way I approach it is just like, if I know them, like, cool, I was like, oh, hey, what's up, you want to do something? And then like I'll snipe like that, or I'll just like kind of snipe in a more like not showing myself. Like, I'll cover
the background snipe.
Yeah, the background snipe. That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
I feel like if you're gonna snipe, just do the background snipe.
Yeah.
Like, just don't interfere. Good. Just kind of be in the background of the camera. And
that's a good one.
Yeah.
There are snipers who feel like they can just come on and fucking do whatever and be super weird, right?
Yeah.
And that's gonna be like a thing. But if you're gonna do something like that, the best way to do it is to do the background snipe. That way they don't even know that you're doing it, and it doesn't really interrupt anything.
True.
But it still makes for like a good
just don't be weird. That's it. Just don't be weird. I mean, they're just regular people too.
Exactly. That's the whole point of this podcast, to show you guys that we are regular people, especially streamers are.
They're just regular people. We're really like not special, to be honest. Like, I don't do anything cool. I just do accounting, and then I just stream on the weekends. Like, I'm not doing anything crazy or special. Like, I don't have some sort of like clout or anything like that. Like, I'm not out here contributing to society, solving like some sort of algorithm, or figuring out how to like plant stuff on the moon. Like, I don't do anything.
But obviously people find what you do is interesting, at least. And you I think if you really dug into what you said you wanted to do earlier, which is like the underground music stuff, I think if you brought that out onto Twitch, which is like definitely not content, it would be very interesting to hear about. And speaking of which, since we're talking about the content, I wanted to talk about one type of content that you do, which is a streamer memorial tribute content. So what is the deal of that? And can you like briefly talk about that? Like,
so it's like something I started doing recently. It started off like memorial tribute kind of thing. So like, if like another member of like the IRL community like that I'm familiar with, like I see they're like struggling or down or something like that, like I'll do like kind of a
How did it start?
I think it started when Cook Sucks and Rex Dizzy left for Korea.
That was the first one?
I think that might have been the first one.
Okay.
And everyone was like so sad about them leaving. And I don't know why. I don't know how my brain thought of it, but I just thought like, oh, why don't I throw like a kind of going away kind of thing? And I don't know why I turned to like a memorial kind of thing. But I just thought it was like a funny, good idea. Like I said, back in the day, I was doing more like dumb, edgy content. So I thought, oh, let me get a picture of them, put it on like a picture frame kind of thing.
Yeah.
Put some flowers and candles, and boom, call it that. And
he's referring to this.
Yeah, there.
I have it, and I keep it. This is it.
Yeah, so
he did one for me.
Just imagine a candle here, some flowers. Yeah, and in a way, like I would like try to talk to like the chat and be like, yo, be like nicer to the streamer, yada yada kind of thing. Like try to show others to have more sympathy and compassion for like said streamer. That was like ultimately the goal. That's like what I attempted to do. Kind of shed some light to them. But
it kind of comes off as that.
yeah. It was maybe a little too far. It was probably a little too far.
But it's funny, I think.
It is funny, but I can see how it can be taken in the wrong way. But it is what it is. It's done. But yeah, so over time I've been trying to tame it down little by little. You know, instead I'm trying to do like more so I guess like a challenge form kind of tribute where like I'll do something instead rather than kind of set up this kind of memorial kind of setup thing. Like today, what's it called? There's another IRL streamer from New York, Daily Dasher. He hasn't been feeling too well. So like I have some of his like people from his community in my chat. So I was like, yo, what should I do for like, you know, kind of pay tribute to him or something like that? Because he's been around for like a while on the IRL stream. So they were like, oh, you should eat spicy food because like he can't deal with any spice, like any little bit of spice he just doesn't like. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna eat something spicy today. So I went to this Thai place. I ate some like really spicy noodles, and that was like kind of like my tribute or like bring awareness to him. Like, yo, this guy's really cool. You should check him out if you haven't already. And
what prompted you to even do the like Daily Dasher tribute?
What do you mean?
Like why did you select Daily Dasher to do?
Yeah, because he like posted he was like in the hospital recently.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, damn, that, you know, boy's down bad. I don't know. and that's well, actually that leads into a good thing. Like IRL streaming, you have to like constantly be streaming. Like you really can't take time off. And like he's like starting to like finally pop off, and then like this happens, and now he's like, I don't think he has a stream like in a week. And you would think like, oh, it's just a week, like that's not really gonna matter. But like in the IRL scene, like that's a really long time. Like that's gonna hurt your viewership. So like even though I'm a small channel, like I don't know, I just thought like a small kind gesture, like, you know, like there's someone out there who, you know, I guess cares and supports like for you and what you do in your community kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very like I mean, he did it for me, and I didn't know how to feel about it at first. It's kind of like, why would you do this? But at the same time, it's kind of funny, and it's like, yeah, I'm personally not the type of person to kind of be in the attention, especially like if other people make the effort to put attention for me. So I don't really like that. But who else have you done it before? So you did Cook Sucks, right. Rex Dizzy, myself, and Daily Dasher.
Daily Dasher. I did Milky Puff.
You did Milky Puff.
I did Milky Puff.
Oh really?
Who else did I do? I think that's all I've done. Oh, yeah, I think that's all I've done.
Kiara,
I did Kiara Kitty. You're right. 6.
The list is growing.
Yeah, it's
Who's
definitely
next?
I'm trying to make it like kind of a thing of mine. Because I think it's cool. You don't really see like
it's unique.
You don't see a lot of IRL streamers like really supporting each other. Because
That's
I feel
true.
it's kind of like been like the what's it called, like silent rule or whatever, that like you don't really interact with others much. Like you just send them a raid here and there, but like that's about it. Like you don't really speak or promote them or anything.
There's not a lot of interaction.
Yeah,
it's kind of there's like a lot of gray area with that.
Yeah. And I just feel like that's dumb because ultimately is like the IRL is such a small niche community that if like one of us grows, that's gonna like trickle down to the rest and eventually bring more light to that scene. So it's like, why not support each other? Like I get, you know, competition, you want to, you know, hoard the viewers, I guess, for yourself, the success, but I just feel like in this specific scene, like it's counterintuitive to do that.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like I said, it's such a small community that you really want to just bring more people in more than anything right now, at least at this
and make them like a little bit more tighter too for the ones that are inside yeah. That's very interesting. I don't see other streamers kind of do anything like that, right? But I guess it kind of makes sense because it's like we don't want to step on the toes of other streamers at the same time. So it's like it's hard to kind of figure out what it is. Should we go into the chat and see if they have any other questions for this?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I got a $1 donation from Amaranth.
Ooh. Shouts out
Someone named
Amaranth.
Amaranth, and then she said, "Nestor, why don't you call me back? I will go vegan for you, puppy." Damn, I should have read it before I asked it.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
I should read it before I asked it.
You know, that's actually funny. I've actually, despite being vegan, I've never like dated someone who's vegan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I have this probably would have made more sense if I asked it like at the beginning of the stream. So you're vegan. What made you want to become vegan? And how long have you been vegan for?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Because I get this all the time.
Yeah, this is like an identity, not only of you, but also kind of your stream.
Yeah, it's part of my stream.
Yeah.
Because obviously I have to eat on stream sometimes if I stream for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what got me into being vegan? Basically, growing up, like I always thought it was weird to like eat animals. Like I was like, why is this so accepted? Like I guess growing up in like a Spanish Mexican like household, whatever family, like I would see like they had chickens in the backyard and then they just kill them like there on the spot like nothing. Yeah, and I was just like, yo, it's kind of messed up. Like you were just interacting and like being cool with these chickens for so long, and then you just like cut them like that. Like, yeah, it's kind of messed up. So I always had that growing up in my mind, but obviously like it was the norm, so I was like, okay, whatever. But then it wasn't until like around middle school I had a cousin who was vegetarian for a while, and that kind of exposed me more to it, and it kind of normalized like what I was feeling, my thoughts, like, okay, I'm not the only one, like this is reasonable. And I was still just like whatever about it.
When was this?
At middle school.
Middle school.
So I was
okay.
like, I don't know, 13.
Yeah, so it's been that long since you've.
Oh no, I still was.
Oh, okay.
I was still like regular, but this is like kind of the like
leading up
build
to
up. Yeah,
okay.
And also like I always thought like eating fish was like just super weird, like because I guess like in the Mexican like food tradition, whatever, they literally just like fry the fish and they just like serve it to you like that. You gotta like pick the bones out, pick the eye out. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, this is so weird. like how is this normal? Like, poor fish kind of thing. I know, like, people are like, oh, soy boy, whatever, but, like, it's weird. Like, I always just thought it was weird how we're so accepting to, like, just mess with fish. Like, literally fishing. Like, we're, for fun, we're, like, putting this metal rod in an animal, pulling it out of the environment that it lives. It can't breathe or anything like that. And then we're just taking pictures with it or whatever, and then throw it back in. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's weird. But yeah, eventually, like once I turned 18, I was just like, you know what? Like, why do I have to keep supporting this? Like, I just thought it was just pointless. I didn't agree with it, so I was like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna go vegan, and yeah, I just kind of did it overnight. And then like obviously like my family was like, what the hell? What are you doing? Like, how are you gonna eat? How are you gonna live? Blah blah blah. But like over time, I guess just how they saw like I conducted myself, like how I ate, that I didn't die of like malnourishment or anything. They kind of became a little more accepting of it, and yeah, that's pretty much how I became vegan. Just
how long have you been vegan? When was that choice?
So I was 18.
You were 18.
I'm 25 now, so what? 7 years now.
7 years.
Yep, 7 years.
Wow. Interesting. How would you say being vegan affects your streaming? Probably you've been vegan longer than you've been streaming, so it's not even really this like a thought for you, right?
How does it affect my streaming? Well, I guess it's just living in LA, it's really not a big deal. Like you can get vegan food like anywhere, it's not a big deal. But I guess like if I'm in a more rural area or something, like I'll just have to settle for something like very basic, minute. But even then, like, I don't know. Are
there elements of veganism that come on into your stream, like I don't know, like memes in your chat or emotes or something like that? Or
obviously not everyone's vegan in my chat, and that's cool. I've never.
Do they come in and they just talk shit about you for being vegan?
That's a funny thing though, because like I don't even like promote myself being vegan. Like I don't oh, you should go vegan, blah blah blah. Like I really don't care. Like do whatever you want. Like we're all gonna die eventually. Like there's no point. Like if it's cool, like I think it's awesome if you're aware of it. Like you're a cool person for that. If you're not, like whatever, like you suck for that. But also I'm sure you're great at other things too. Yeah. Right? Like I'm sure some other vegan people suck too for other things. So that's why I'm just like whatever. And like I said, I've never like dated anyone who's vegan, so it's like kind of like I think that just solidifies like I don't really care like what others do. But the thing is like there's always people constantly like, oh, I could never go vegan. Oh, I love meat, or like just like silly little comments like that.
Do they try to like pressure you to eat meat on your stream?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, you should eat meat. Like they joke around like, oh, are you sure it's not vegan? And I'm like, oh wow, I never heard of that, dude. You're so funny. It's so original. Like, congrats to you. Wow, I'm dying of laughter. I've never heard of that. At first, it was annoying. Like when I first went vegan. Yeah. But like over time, you just hear it and it just kind of get jaded to it, and like I don't really care, and I can kind of ignore it. But then sometimes it's like, all right, dude, like I just have to go in on this guy so that I can set in like the example. Yeah. Like if someone wants to continue acting this way, this is what's gonna happen, kind of thing. Not that I'm gonna like time them out or ban them, but like I'll go on like on a mini rant, and like usually by the end of that, like it's pretty clear, like chat and everyone can see like this person is just trying to provoke and is being dumb. Yeah. Where I'm, coming from a more logical kind of standpoint.
Got it.
Yeah. But this is usually what happens. It just ends up in a huge rant, and I'm just like, this again.
Got it. Yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah. I think I was going to at one point ask you about kind of how like you deal with chat, especially being like if there's toxic chat, toxic people being in your chat. But I feel like that pretty much sums it up with the vegan thing that you just mentioned.
Yeah. Usually those people just like come and go. They really don't stick around because like
true. They just want to come in and just like drive by shooting you.
Yeah, exactly. Just a drive by. Yeah. They tried like to trigger you, but once they like see it's like, this guy's not really falling for it, they just dip. And it's actually funny. I don't have any mods or anything like that.
You don't have mods?
I don't know. I don't really like the idea of it.
Whoa.
Because like I just want people to like watch and enjoy my streams. I don't want them to like, oh, Neszt is live, I gotta go moderate, make sure things are good.
I see.
And I think I've done a pretty good job so far of like fostering a pretty well behaved chat, because I like to emphasize like regularly like, yo, we're all like adults. Yeah. There's like actual people behind the screen. Like don't act a way you wouldn't in front of like your mom or family, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think I've nailed that point into like the point where the people who like keep coming back and watching like understand. And I think also chat also kind of likes that as well. That this is kind of like a safe space in a way where there's not these people just coming in and out acting a fool and kind of throwing off the vibe of the stream. Kind of thing. Yeah.
So it's kind of more so you want to preserve. It's part of it is like you don't trust mods to preserve the like purity of your chat.
No, it's not that I don't trust mods or anything like that. I mean, I see the point of mods. It works. Yeah. It's cool. I think the concept is cool, but like just me personally, like I just don't want someone like I don't stream full time. I just stream on the weekend. So like I don't want someone to spend their weekend having to like essentially work for me, kind of thing. Like I just want them just to.
You don't like the idea of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just like come in the stream, kick back, and that's
what would it take for you to be like, yeah, I need a mod?
Usually like when I get into like more like hectic streams, like if there's like something going on and I have like a higher viewership, there's like new people, that I have like a few like regulars in the chat that I trust, and I'll just mod them, and like they don't mind because obviously they're regulars. They understand like, oh, it's just this one time thing, and that's kind of how I handle that.
Got it. Yeah. These are really good questions. I actually don't have any more questions as far as I can think of, but these are all like stuff that I wanted to cover. How long have we been streaming for?
No idea.
Let me check. Hey, Slice, thanks for the 5 months. Right when I was checking my thing.
What a name.
Hey.
Just simple. Slice. That's nice.
It's actually not Slice. It's the L is an I, so it's IICE. But Slice was already taken. So shit. Yeah, I exposed him.
Oh, 2 hours and a half.
Got exposed.
Nice.
Thank you guys for like coming into my chat. Let me check how long. We've been doing this for 2.5 hours. Wow. Okay, so at this point, I feel like I covered a lot of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, and if there's more things, I can't think of it right now, but I hope this kind of gave more of a like bigger picture of how Neszt is and how it is to be like the life of a streamer. I think I want to take this time now to like go into the chat, and at this point I would have answered the questions from the subs and the donations, but the last sub said happy 5 months, John. Nice. So that's not a question. And I know a lot of people were asking questions before, so I guess I wanted to apologize for not being able to get to your guys' questions. I'm the only guy manning this, and I can't like talk to him and just like look at the chat all the time.
True.
But if there's any questions that's good questions, I think we can take maybe a couple minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes to go to the chat, and if you guys have any questions, we'll go over it. Do you guys have any questions for, again, this is Neszt, twitch.tv/NEZST.
I think that's a good question by Quants. Do Nestor's co-workers or boss know about his stream? That's a pretty good question. Or just like family in general kind of thing?
Yeah, what's kind of your philosophy behind like, because okay, personally, I don't want my family to know that I stream. But it has came to the point where some of my nephews found my stream, and then they sent the link to my content. Actually, they found my viral clip of the MS-13 thing on YouTube, and through that they found my stream. One of my nephews found my stream, and then they sent the link to my sister, and then so my sister texted me, and she was like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
But that's kind of just my thing. I don't want to have my family involved.
Yeah, he snitched.
Especially because I think that any streamer, specifically IRL streamers, we kind of have to protect our own personal life too, outside of the life. Like we share a lot about our lives, but we don't want to get doxxed. We don't want to dox our family members who don't want to be involved in it too. So that's just kind of how I think about it. But how do you go about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same, to be honest. Like, it's not that like I'm hiding or anything like that. Like oh, I act so different, I don't want my family to know kind of thing. It's just more so like you said, it's just kind of like I'd just rather keep that like off to a side. I don't really I like to just keep business as business, and then all that separate. Like when you start mingling it's a recipe for disaster. Like so many things, you're allowing for more things to go wrong than necessary. Right. But I would say I mean, my mom knows that I stream. She doesn't watch my stream. I don't know if I would want her to watch or not, because
she'd be like, "Oh, my son's so disappointing."
No, it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like me personally, I guess, like if I had like a kid or something, it's like, cool. I see my kid during the week. I hang out with them. Like, why do I want to spend my free time watching them? Yeah. I think that'd be kind of weird, and I don't want to like promote that. But I have like one of my nephews, I guess, found my stream. I don't know how, but I don't know if he's like watches or not. But yeah, same thing. I don't really mind too much, but like I just know like the way like Mexican Hispanic culture is, like it's just something that they don't understand and like look down upon. Yeah. So it's like I don't really care to explain. I don't really want to get into like that kind of thing. Like I'm not even a big streamer, so like what's the point? Like if I was maybe like making like a good amount of money kind of thing, like okay, I understand, like this is like a really big part of my life. I have to like, this is something I have to discuss. Like can they ask me, "Oh, Nestor, what are you up to?" What kind of thing. But like since it's just a small part of like what I do, it's just for fun. Like I just don't deem it necessary. Yeah.
Well, one kind of thing for me is that when I was having troubles with streaming and I was getting a lot of stress, I needed to take a break from streaming. I don't know if you've experienced that yet, where you kind of feel like you need to take a break from it. But having a personal life outside of the stream really helps when you do take that break, because what happens is, for a lot of streamers and content creators, is that streaming and content creating becomes your life. And then so if you want to get away from that, if you don't have a thing to like, once you take a break from it,
like
you won't have anything. Yeah. So that's like kind of what I was afraid of. So it's like, oh, I want to take a break from streaming, but if I don't stream, what do I do? Like, I don't have anything. I'll just think about it or whatever, like that. So I was lucky to have, like, I do have a lot of friends outside of streaming, and then they, you know, invite me for events and sometimes. So that's kind of like the work-life balance between doing stuff like that. So
yeah. But unironically, like, someone like my friends, they like, oh, Nezst, I want to come out on your streams or whatever, like, hang out, because I guess they see what I do is interesting. Yeah. But like, I'm just kind of like, I don't mind, but at the same time, is like, you guys are kind of like you just said, like, kind of like when I don't want to be on stream and just like relax. Like, you guys are that like space for me kind of thing. Yeah. But I don't know. I guess eventually, like if my family does start watching my streams, I don't really mind too much. Like, it's not like I'm doing anything crazy or bad like that.
Got it. All right, let me go into the chat if I see any other good questions. If you see a question that you want to go through, you can go through that.
Hey, shouts out everyone who's like commenting that they like the stream, the quality and everything.
Yeah, thank you guys. This is the first stream, so we're kind of trying to iron things out with everything. If there's any feedback that you guys have about the way that the stream is, someone said earlier that the camera colors are different, so I'll try to make sure that doesn't happen. You know, Ness and I have different skin tone.
True.
I'm darker. Let's see. The tech setup is good, but we need an art director, production designer.
Too many camera angles switching. Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. We have 3 camera angles, and I think that there's a timing that's set up between the camera angles, and sometimes it switches too fast between the two. So I just need to figure out like what the correct timing is between them all.
Yeah. We're still, like I said, this is the first one, so we're like still trying to figure things out. Yeah. But it'll improve over time.
The audio is more important than the video, because I mean it's just you just, I can just put up a picture of me and it's gonna be the same. Warcraft Annie says, what do you tell streamers who can't put aside the quality a live view setup gives? I've been told by small IRL streamers crave for the live view setup even if the viewers don't care for it. So I feel like this is a question kind of about the IRL the live view quality versus like how their viewers care about it. Do you have any thought about that?
I mean, if you want to start maxing out your credit cards, yeah, go for it. If you don't mind that financial burden, yeah, go for it. I mean, nobody's stopping you. Go for it. But you know, afterwards, when you're, and I mean, also the tech, right? Once you get through that hurdle and all that, if it's still worth it, all right, go. All power to you, dude.
Here's the thing that I've learned about streaming is that there's, you know, quality is important, but the content is more important. And the phrase that was told to me by her name is Janelle. She works for LiveView, actually. She said, content is king, quality is queen. And that was very interesting to me. So there are, you can name very huge IRL streamers. A lot of them use phones and their quality is not that good when it comes to the video quality, but their content is top notch, you know. Sometimes I watch like really high level streamers and they're streaming on the phone and it's like dude, oh my god, like shaking like crazy because they're holding their selfie stick and there's like no stabilization. It like bugs me like crazy, but like that's not even what's important.
Ultimately it really does come down to the content, and I think just you know, whether you're being yourself or, you know, perfecting this character persona you put on, I think that's really what's important, because ultimately in IRL streaming there's a lot of downtime. Like there's not going to be constant content the entire time you're streaming. Like you have to I guess, be a people's person to an extent.
Yeah.
Like, be able to socialize and carry conversations. And I mean, that's the only way to do that is either by being yourself, or be able to put on this character that's relatable and carry out whatever kind of style that character you create is able to. You get the idea.
Yeah. I don't see any other questions that I really want to go over. I have one random question that I thought of. Do you show or hide your viewership when you stream?
I don't look at it.
You don't look at it.
I don't like looking at numbers at all.
Do you specifically hide it? Like use the hide viewership on an app or something?
Yeah. I don't like looking at it. I hate it.
Do you think it kind of affects the way
it does? Yeah. I don't like looking at it because for me, ultimately, like, as long as the chat is going and like I'm able to have like a conversation, that's like what's most important for me. But I feel like if I start seeing numbers, I start to like try to put this correlation between like, oh, I have this X amount of numbers, I should have chat moving at this certain rate kind of thing. Yeah. And I just I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. But even then, like, I'm still, like I said, a small streamer, so like the difference between like 40 and 30, it's really not that big of a deal.
What is the biggest advice you can give a new IRL streamer or someone who wants to get into IRL streaming, something like that?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I always say that too. Don't do it, dude.
It's not worth it. I mean, maybe like 2-3 years from now, once it's like more accepted, it might be worth it. But it's like,
okay. Besides, don't do it.
Okay.
If you were to give an honest thing, that's don't do it.
I mean, what would I say to someone who wants to get into it? Like they haven't started at all or anything?
like okay, so if you were to think about back on yourself when you started streaming and you had this imagination of what an IRL streamer is. So now that you know more about it after streaming for a year plus, you can go back and tell yourself like, hey, this is the reality of what IRL streaming is going to be.
I would say probably just I would say just don't focus on the numbers. Like the first year or 2 or 3, whatever, like you're not gonna make much movement or noise or anything, and that's fine. It's just part of the way it is. Like as long as you can keep some sort of consistency and that same level of dedication and energy that you had in the beginning, that will take you a long ways, more than having the best equipment or whatever.
Right.
Because if you can have the best equipment, but like even then there's like some days where I don't feel like streaming, or like what am I gonna do, there's not much to do. But ultimately it really just comes down to just having that drive, that inner push. If you don't have that, there's really no point into getting into it, because like I said, there's so many things like stacked against doing IRL, like that there's really no point other than like you're wanting to push yourself through just pain and torture.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where you have to kind of enjoy the process of IRL streaming, as opposed to trying to get to what the goal is or your destination is. What you are right now is really what you have to deal with. I think I got a similar question right here from Fatu. Said, did you already answer what is the highest moment in your streaming career and lowest? The highest and lowest moments in your streaming career. And I would say your streaming career is not that long. Yeah,
I've only streamed for like a year and a half, so
do you have any notable high and low moments?
My highest would be maybe that's a tough one. I really liked that COVID stream I did, to be honest. Even though it was like one of my early streams, like I really liked the idea and concept that like I executed, and then the fact that what unfolded afterwards like just made it age so much better. I think that was probably my high, even though like I probably only had like 10-15 people watching. Actually, like that felt really fulfilling, and like I can look back at it now and be like, yeah, I did that, and, like that was me, that was like all me, that kind of thing. And it was actually funny in that stream, like one of the top IRL streamers like just dropped that by out of nowhere. I'm like, what? It was
really?
Jake and Bake.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, what the hell?
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like,
Damn,
what is like a top streamer doing?
Yeah.
in such a like small like.
Jake
kind of
doesn't come into my
obscure-
stream. Well, he does, but he doesn't say anything unless he like
Just
he needs a
lurking.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what the heck? So like for me, that stream like it really like helped me solidify like yeah, I can do this, and like I guess I kind of belong here. Like
Yeah.
I can hang with the top dogs kind of thing. Yeah, so I'd say that was probably my highest
Interesting.
moment. Even though like I guess you can argue like when I hit like 1,000 viewers during what protest stream was it? Like during like I don't know
The BLM protest.
yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
I hit like 1,000 like with no raids or anything, but
Wow.
like I don't know, like if I look back on that, I'm just like, yeah, cool, I covered it, but like anybody can do that. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't really doing anything innovative. Like
Uh-huh.
there was really no creative aspect to it,
Yeah.
or much effort. Yeah, and I'd say low maybe my lowest point of streaming, I guess maybe when I was trying to transition from like GoPro to a live view. Just that the whole technical issue of just like
Got
wanting
it,
to
yeah.
do so much more, but I can't because financial reasons and all that, and then I can't really justify it.
Yeah.
And just trying to find that balance,
Got
that
it.
sweet spot. I'd say that was probably my lowest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like close to quitting at that point.
I wouldn't say close to quitting, but it was just more like, damn, like I'm stuck between like a rock and a hard place kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
okay, I can get a live view, but then I have to do so much more and all this to get it up and running, or I could stick to this like smaller GoPro setup, and it's more convenient and simpler, but I'm not gonna have the reliability of like a live view solo kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool. Is there any other questions that we can go into chat? Oh, actually, I was gonna say something, but I forgot it. So this is what I wanted to say. Could you kind of relate between how, since you were kind of in music, can you relate between how, like, say a band comes out and they're like really hungry in the beginning, the first album is really good. Usually it always happens, like if band's first album is really good, subsequent albums get worse and worse. And is it because they're getting bigger and they're getting signed, they have more like eyes on them or something like that? They kind of lose the reason why they were doing music in the first place and making albums and stuff like that. Can you like relate that to streaming?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, because like you start getting all these like sponsorships, people wanting to work with you, viewers expecting certain kind of content, those kind of things, and it's really easy just to like fall off, of that path you were going.
Right.
So yeah, 100% you can make that correlation.
So you're saying like right when you were beginning to start streaming, you were like pretty ambitious in the beginning and making edgy content.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, new streamer, let's check him out. Something fresh.
Yeah.
Instead of like seeing the same old guy kind of thing. New dog, that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, good talk. Okay, well, I'll leave it to the chat now again. I'll probably take a couple more questions because we're approaching the 3-hour mark already, which is pretty crazy. Nezst, do you have anything that you wanted to talk about or ask or whatever, or say something to the chat? Or
I would say shouts out to everyone who like was watching this whole stream and everything. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Shouts out to John for having me here, being the first one.
Thank you for coming.
Testing out the kinks and everything, or whatever that saying goes. But yeah, shouts out everybody in the chat. I mean, this was pretty cool. I think more than anything, this will be pretty useful for like everyone in the IRL scene, because I think we went over a lot of topics that people constantly question and like want to talk about, and we were kind of able to go more in depth.
Yeah.
And then the fact that we had like viewer questions and all that to kind of have different perspectives, I think this was pretty good, pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do this podcast more and get the perspective more from like more streamers and creators, just to see kind of like, because everyone has like their own different things, and I'm always here trying to learn more from other creators. If there's anything that I could do to like teach other creators too, or streamers, then I'm always here for it. Let's take like a couple more questions and then we'll wrap this up. What Twitch Shark in the Dark says, what Twitch rule would you want to change the most? Twitch rule.
What rules? They enforce rules? What? I haven't seen any rules be enforced or followed, but that's just from what I've seen. I'm 5'10" and I'm a Pisces, if you're wondering, Quans, asking what is my height and zodiac sign. But I don't really care about zodiac signs and all that.
I wanted to answer that. My answer to Shart's question, what Twitch rule would you like to change? It's not so much that I want Twitch to change their rules. It's more so I want them to stick to whatever the rule is. The rule is there, but they don't fucking enforce. Sorry, I shouldn't have popped off like that. The rule is there, but they don't like really enforce it consistently. Yeah. That's the most frustrating thing. It's like it's there and it's written there, but one streamer will have like whatever punishment for it, and another streamer will have some other punishment that's totally different. It's basically like same thing. Yeah, it's like selective enforcement, and it's so not explicit, and it's not consistent. Yeah. So that's like one of the most frustrating things as a streamer. And as someone like us who our liveliness, like we put a lot of time and money and whatever, like we invested into doing this, and if we're just gonna get like punished for some random, almost arbitrary thing, and it's like, dude, what the like, yeah, like it's really annoying. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, okay, that's a good question actually.
Yeah.
Let's do one last question. Who's gonna be the very best last question? I'll let you pick a question. You want to pick a question? Here. There's a Twitch in my chat.
Oh, you were up here.
While Neszt is looking for a question, I wanted to thank him for coming onto the stream, and I wanted to thank all you guys for coming onto the stream too. Did you find a question?
Yeah, I think Fatsu's question is actually pretty good.
Okay, Fatsu.
Fatsu coming through again. Shouts out to Fatsu. See, this is a good example of, a viewer that, comes around regularly and just, is very supportive, but not like overly creepy, right? Like he'll make some comments here and there, but like, ultimately you can see that, he's here like as a genuine person and not just like messing around and trying to troll kind of thing.
Well, Fatsu's been there too. He was a streamer also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
What was this question? I lost it in the chat. Here, this one. If you guys weren't streaming right now, what would have taken up your time instead?
That's a great question. I don't know. Do you want to go first? Or you need time to think?
I would probably be an engineer, doing engineering stuff, like building stuff and actually making a difference in the world, and making hella money too, versus what I do now. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
AKA, you'd probably just be living in some penthouse right now.
Yeah, Silicon Valley. Not a penthouse, but like, I'd be living with the tech bros and like doing some code or some shit, something like that. Probably. That's weird to think about. I don't want to think about that. My life could have been way better.
Oh man. What would I be doing? I probably would be involved some sort of formal way in like the underground music scene, yeah. Because prior to this, like I was getting into like photography and stuff, and
oh yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah, I was working with I wasn't really working with artists, but like I was sneaking into shows. I got to like work, like I shot with Soulja Boy.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Who else? The Marias, Crumb. Who else? Couple other rappers. I can't really remember right now, but yeah, I got to like shoot with some pretty notable artists, and I was starting like to build a portfolio. But yeah, I probably would be doing that.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Damn. Cool.
Oh yeah, I was at the 88 Rising Festival. That was, you know, I don't know if I could speak about that. Would that be legal about like me speaking about like my sneaking in kind of things? I mean, it's already
yeah,
big.
it's what
it's
are
already
they
set
gonna
in
do?
stone. Yeah.
Ex
All
post
right.
facto you?
So this will actually be a good story to like end off this thing.
Okay.
So this was like 88 Rising, like music label, right? Since someone brought up Dumbfounded, they were throwing like their first music festival out here in historic park. So yeah, in LA. And I was like, ooh, this would be pretty cool if I can like get in and like take photos and whatnot. Like this would be good for my portfolio, and I can expand into like a more like legit artist like field. So what I did was I got a fake security shirt from Goodwill. I got some slacks from Uniqlo, and then I just wore some Docs. And I had my camera bag, but I was like, I guess pretending that it was my lunch bag kind of thing. And then I made some fake VIP like media passes and I printed them like at Staples. I had like some friend make some like fake ones for me like through Photoshop, and they were pretty good. And I laminated them and everything. Like I made it look legit. Like it was actually pretty impressive what I did.
What was this like all on stream? This
No,
whole
this
process,
was
or?
pre-stream.
Pre-stream. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this is off stream happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I went. I just walked straight in. Nobody questioned me. They just assumed I was security. I went straight to backstage, and then I went to like a portable restroom thing. I switched my clothes, and then I was pretty much in there, and I was just starting to like just blend in, I guess, take photos of people, and I got like into like the more further backstage, like where actually like all the artists were at, and I think that's where I met Cucksucks, I think.
Oh yeah, I remember he was streaming it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was streaming it. I don't know if we agreed to meet up or something like that. We might have. I think he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be streaming this." Like, "Oh, cool, I'm gonna be there." I'm like, "Oh,
Okay.
whatever kind of thing." I think that's what happened. And but obviously, like he knows people, so like
Yeah.
he was pretty straightforward.
Right.
And I guess he kind of assumed I wouldn't get in. And like it was like, "Oh shit, what the hell? You made it back in here? Like, how'd you do it?" I elaborated, and that's how like I met Cucksucks for the first time. And then you know, through that he like kind of helped me network with those people and like take photos for them and whatnot. And yeah, it was like pretty much just smooth sailing for the rest of the night. But it did come to bite me in the butt the following year. But besides that, well,
What do you mean?
The following year,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he was there too. I'm not sure. But I was taking photos, and he was gonna give me like an actual like pass or whatever that you needed. But I was like, nah, I don't need it. Like I'm good. Like I've gotten so far and I've done it like again. Like I don't need it. But I ended up getting caught.
You're confident. No,
Yeah, I got caught like at the very end, and it got kicked out. But like thankfully, like nothing happened. But that first time, back to the first time, yeah, everything went smooth sailing. Like I was on stage. I was like hanging out with the artists and everything. I was in the trailers.
Dang.
Yeah, I was like in there with like Rich Brian,
Oh shit.
Joji, which was crazy, cause that's like one of my more favorite artists.
Yeah.
Actually, I almost got him kicked in the face. Actually.
What?
Yeah. So there was some other dude. He goes by, what's his name? Kill Whitey. That's his name. Kill Whitey. I had shot for him at some like local show, and he was going there, and he recognized me. So he kind of got me.
Really?
Yeah, he got me like kind of like, oh, I know this guy. It's okay. Like you can hang out with us. What's it called? Wait, where was I going with this again? I was seeing the artist. Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, yeah. Kicked in the face. Yeah. So we were playing with like some mini bicycles and like beach balls.
Yeah.
And we were like kicking the beach balls. And I guess he kind of came out of nowhere, and like I kicked the ball, and then the other dude was like gonna kick it, and he like missed, and like he almost like kicked him in the face or something, and he was like pretty pissed off, but like he didn't say anything, and I was like, shit, he's gonna hate me. But yeah, it was. I would probably be doing that. I felt like I probably would be successful in that if I had stick with it.
So were you streaming that or no?
No, I was just taking photos.
without
Yeah. I basically.
Damn.
Oh, and I got.
Yeah, streaming would have outed you.
Yeah, if I stream that, there's no way.
Okay.
There's no way. But then at the end of the night, I got to meet the head of the label guy. I forget his name.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And he lost his laptop, and I think I found it, and I was like, oh dude, I'm so in. Like, he's gonna thank me and be like, oh, what's your name, and then like exchange info, and I can like work with them.
Yeah.
But I guess he was like a little, he had a little too much fun, and they like, I don't know, he went somewhere else, and like I guess his manager or something, whoever was like watching out for him, were like, oh, I'll just take it, and like took credit for me, and I was like, shit, I was so close.
Damn.
Yeah, but good times. I know they're doing another one this year, but I don't know if I'll go to that extent anymore. I think I'm over that now.
I see.
Yeah.
Might be good content for you, as not like the same way that you did it, but if you can get in there legitimately as a streamer,
Yeah, that's not
that would be
happening.
pretty good. It could. I think it could. I think you can make it work.
I don't. But and then also streaming at the event though, too many people. I don't think it'll happen.
Maybe
I'll try, but I don't think so.
All right, nice story, Nezst.
Yeah.
I like that you ended with the story, so it wasn't like a abrupt. Like, all right, we're ending the stream now. Later. Okay, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed that whole almost 3 hours worth of this podcast. I think what I'm going to do now is I will upload this to something else. I haven't decided yet, and also I'll probably stick with the name. I'll figure out the name. I'm thinking I'm gonna keep it as jonsfm. jonsfm. It's hard to say. It just feels weird. Let me, and then also if you guys have any feedback about it or anything you guys want to say about the podcast, you guys can join my Discord channel. It is discord.gg/jonsf. There's a little section there called podcast, which you guys can put your thoughts, any questions or suggestions or whatever, and I'll also upload stuff for the podcast in that channel. Most importantly though, please follow here on whatever platform you're listening this on. Specifically my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/jonsf, or YouTube, or whatever this is on. And follow twitch.tv/nezst.
If you want. You don't have to.
Hopefully, we will do a follow-up episode of this in the future.
True.
If the planets align and you look into the sky and the equiax and everything, and then we'll see Neszt, see how far he's gone from
like
this point.
Like
We'll
a year
remember
later
it.
kind of thing.
Yeah, a year later. Maybe he will have a story of how he was at the concert this year.
True.
And he got kicked in the face or whatever. I'm going to raid someone. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
I don't think so.
Spotify?
I don't think so, but yeah.
Ness, do you want to say anything?
No.
You want to promote anything?
Nah. Just shouts out to everyone who was hanging in the stream. Hope they enjoyed it. That was pretty cool. I had fun.
Yeah, I had fun. This is exactly kind of what I expected for this stream to do. Like 3 hours was. I know it was a long time, but I felt like the stuff that we were going to talk about was going to be like 3 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't like we were dragging it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this is the tough part too about streaming in the West Coast LA time.
Yeah.
Everybody is done
Can't
streaming.
really raid.
Yeah.
Okay, last very last question. How do you feel about raids? Do you have any thoughts about raids?
I mean, it's a cool feature. I wouldn't really like bank on it as a streamer, like, oh, you have to get big raids to like grow your channel. Like, it helps here and there, but ultimately, like, again, content is king. Like, people are only gonna stick around if they like what you do.
That's true.
So like, let's say you have like a yoga streamer, big yoga streamer, like rating you. 99% of those viewers, they're not gonna stick around, right? They're just gonna say hi in the raid and dip, and it's like boom, all those viewers are gone, right? So you do have to be like mindful to an extent of like who you rate and get rated by. Like, make it count, I guess, to an extent. Okay. Or like share your viewers with someone who's like interested in the same thing.
I typically raid streamers who are not partner because I wanted to help them get to partner.
Mr. Logic said jonsf rated me once and it helped lock in affiliate for me.
Really?
Thanks again.
So I hope that the raid is like helping motivate you guys to become, you know, better streamers or whatever.
That's a good way to do it.
Sorry, I said that in a very like condescending way. I hope you guys get better or whatever. You know, I don't really care.
It sheds some light on them, you know.
Yeah.
Cause it's tough. It's tough, man.
Thank you guys for coming in today. I really appreciate it, you guys. And I will have before I send this raid off, I will have the second episode with Jinpai Senpai scheduled on Tuesday. So come back on Tuesday, unless something really weird happens with either of us. In which case, you know, whatever. Anyways, thank you guys for coming by. I'll try to re-upload this, and yeah, thank you.
Cool. Awesome.
Have a good one.
Can you guys stop talking about me? Makes me nervous. Let me enjoy my.
We'll edit this banana part out in the.
Okay, sounds good.